See the lights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Tallawah TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Shout Out the Messenger, and you're watching Tallawah TV with the host and best. So Davis, take it away.
My Tallawahs, good day. How are you all? Welcome back to another live stream of mine. I did say on my last live stream, shame about the result, losing at home against Costa Rica in our World Cup qualifiers. And we know what that result means, don't we? So I'm not going to spend much of this conversation talking about the World Cup qualifiers because I did promise you all that I will pop back on before the end of the week. So I've definitely stuck to my agreement and my deal. And I said that I want to talk about this man right here, Mr. Darren Mattocks. And we all know what's happened on social media this week where Darren Mattocks is concerned. So we're going to dive into that later on in the show. I do have a few Reggae Girlz updates for you all because I know you guys like the balance between the Reggae Girls and the Reggae Boys. Let me pop over to my comment section and see. Thumbs up, love a thumbs up. Also hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And if you are new to the channel or the platform, then do go ahead and hit the subscribe button. So do let me know how you're doing, Mr. Scott. How has your week been? How's your weekend looking? Before I get started, let me know how I'm gonna leave your comment up for a second actually. Let me know how your week is looking. I know you're definitely in a good mood when it comes to the Reggae Girlz because you are a firm supporter, a sincere supporter, I should say. And I definitely know that you've been keeping an eye on the cup performances for Chelsea and Manchester City. Of course, when it comes to both women's team, we do know that we have Drew Spence of Chelsea and Khadija Bonishaw of Manchester City. So let me go up and do a quick screen share because I do know I want to make sure that you guys can see what's on screen. Give you guys a little bit of an update. It's going well so far. I'm happy to hear that. Definitely happy to hear that. And I hope you have a great weekend when it comes. We are one step closer to the weekend. So I hope you have a smashing weekend when it comes. So let me go over to Chelsea. Not Chelsea, to the FA website, the FA the FA Women's League and FA Women's League and competitions. Bit of a fumble there on my end. So earlier on this week, we saw that Drew Spence and Chelsea, as well as Manchester City and Khadija Shaw, qualified for the Conti Cup final, and that one will be taking place on Saturday, March the 5th, 2022. So the 2020-2021-2022 FA Women's Continental Tires League Cup final will see Chelsea face Manchester City at AFC Wimbledon's Cherry Red Record Stadium again on Saturday, the 5th of March, 2022. So that should be quite a watch for us, being that we have two Reggae Girls who will be squaring off against each other. So that pretty much means that we're guaranteed to be smiling come full time, right? If I go over and keep that on screen there, I don't know where most of you are located, but if you're in the UK, then perhaps you might want to take in some women's football and get yourself down to the Cherry Red Record Stadium. That's the home of AFC Wimbledon. So maybe you might want to get to their stadium and watch Drew Spence and Chelsea take on Bunny and Manchester City, I should say. Super Nick, let's read your comment here, Super Nick. I cannot. Let me stop my screen share quickly so I can read this comment. I cannot take any more else for the week. My vibes are not good, please. I feel for you. I'm actually just watching your game, funny enough, and you came to mind. I was wondering like how you're feeling. I think we might have to lean on each other for the duration of this season. taking into consideration how poorly both of our clubs have performed, not just this season, but just over the last couple of seasons. It just seems to be getting from worse to worse. So I definitely know how you're feeling. We're literally in the same boat. My team was knocked out against Nottingham Forest, and I could see the full-time result, although I didn't get to watch the match. I'm actually watching it on replay as we speak, so I definitely know the full-time result where your club is concerned. But nice to have you on another live stream as ever. And during the conversation, I want to know what you think, Super Nick, in terms of Darren Mattocks. I think you might have asked me about the comment that was made by Darren Mattocks earlier on in the week. So we're going to touch on the comment, but there's a few stuff to touch on, as you could tell based off looking at my YouTube thumbnail. I'm going to be talking about Mikel Antonio. I'm going to be touching on Stoke City and Liam Moore and a few other bits as well. Mr. Jackson, good day to yourself. How has your week been? How's your weekend looking? I hope you've had a splendid week so far, and I hope that your weekend can take things up a notch and you could see yourself going into that Monday morning. We all hate Monday mornings, but you could see yourself going into Monday morning with a nice smile on your face and full of energy. So let me know how your week has been so far. Hopefully, if it's not been that great, hopefully we can perhaps lean on each other for some support and cheer each other up. So let me go back. Actually, I'm pretty sure some of you must have seen what's been said in the media in relation to Mikel Antonio returning for his club. And everything that I touch on, guys, when I do reopen my screen share, let me know your thoughts in the comment section in terms of what's been said on each of the topics. Let me know how you guys are feeling with what's been said. Relaxing after a busy week, that is the way to do it. Put your feet up, enjoy the weekend, because it is relatively short, isn't it? Before you blink, Monday's around the corner and you have to go again. So enjoy the weekend for both of us. And do take care of yourself and your family as well. I'm going to reopen my screen share, guys. Let me go back up screen share, pop my screen share back on. As I just said, recently, looks like he has a lot of. So we can save this comment. We're going to come back to Super Nick's comments here. Super Nick says, Mattocks looks like he has a lot of personal issues. That one is possibly in relation to what was posted by Darren Mattocks earlier on in the week over on Instagram. Up and running, Mr. Karumi, how you doing, sir? How's your week been now that we've reached the end of the week? How you feeling? Feeling a bit depleted? Are you disappointed with the result against Costa Rica? Or have you just long come to terms with where we're at with the men's national team? And don't get me started with the Costa Rica. Oh, the scandal, the COVID scandal with Costa Rica. What an absolute mess. Trust for it to happen in CONCACAF, right? Absolute disaster where that's concerned. We could talk about that one later on. Karumi is saying that he expected this. So I think he was possibly one of the few, or maybe one of the many, where the Reggae Boys are concerned, who touched on, let me stop that screen share for a moment, guys, who touched on the likelihood of Jamaica not qualifying for this upcoming World Cup. So perhaps I'm not surprised by your reaction there, Karumi, where you've clearly stated that you expected this. What I am going to do, again, guys, if you're just popping into the live stream, then as I stated before, do chime in with my topics. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. I'm going to turn back on that screen share once more, and we're going to go over to my tab, my first tab, that is. Don't get me started on the relays. I saw something that came through regarding events in Jamaica on home soil. So as we all know, guys, I wanted to talk to you guys about David Moyes and comments that he made in today's press conference in relation to Mikel Antonio. And do let me know what you guys think. I'll try and put this out the way, and I'll read what was said in that press conference there by David Moyes for you all, in case the writing might be a little bit fine on the screen, so you might not be able to see it. So here's what David Moyes said. He said, Mikel will arrive back today from Jamaica, which you can imagine is not particularly good. It is a terrible situation. Players will be away and others will be at the AFCON Cup of Nations, meaning their clubs have not got them, but this was an international break. Now I'm thinking, okay, fair play. He hasn't really said anything too bad, or is pretty much understandable what he said, given his position as a manager, club. They've got a FA Cup game coming up tomorrow. And I continue to read, and this is where it does get a little bit uncomfortable towards the end with David Moyes' comments. He said the scheduling of all of the games is really tough for the people doing it. People are trying to squeeze games in, and the people who get affected are the players first and foremost. But if you're a club paying their wages, you would say it is hardly correct to get your players back to get your player back, and he's referring to Mikel Antonio, at 11 a.m. on Friday to play the Saturday at 12:30 p.m. And if I scroll down and see if I can find the rest of that from David Moyes. I hope it hasn't been taken down, guys, but let me just see if I can find the rest of that. Looks like something has been removed from this article. Let me pop over and see what you guys are saying in the comment section before I carry on. Talking about Brazil, let me take off the screen share quickly and go back before I reverse back to Mikel Antonio. Brazil versus Argentina. The Brazil health workers stopped the game. JFF blamed the government and vice versa, while Costa Rica get away with breaking the protocol. This is what happens when you're not on the same team as each other. There's a lot of pointing the finger, you're to blame, no, you're to blame, and so on. Bless up yourself. Always, I'm always in support of the girls. Always try to get that balance right between the men's team and the women's national team. Karumi said Manchester United lost to Middlesbrough and penalties. I'm actually watching the penalties now. It's now 2-2. And without you telling me, Karumi, I did catch a glimpse of that full-time score. Can't really say nothing, bearing in mind who I support. Tuffin says that fully vaccinated people can. Yeah, I saw that earlier on, Super Nick. And the timing of that announcement is quite something, isn't it? Why could this not have been announced 3-4 weeks ago? What's the difference between then and now? Has anything changed statistic-wise? Statistic-wise, in terms of COVID, people catching COVID, the death rate, what's the difference between now and then? I don't really know because I've not seen the figures myself. Seems like European football must play a lot. Yeah, it does seem, and you could tell, I mean, even without David Moyes' comments, you could tell what certain managers in the PL think of, countries like Jamaica and the African nations. You can tell what they think of our competitions, be it the Gold Cup or the African Cup of Nations. It's a massive insult, huge insult, but they don't really care because they're speaking with what I'm guessing they probably frame that as transparency. Whilst it is being transparent, it's also being disrespectful in every sense of the word. I'm trying to find the rest of this article here, guys. And I hope I can find it for you all. So don't mind me. I'm just trying to see if I can get up the rest of that article. And let's see, because it is actually it was an important line. Okay, so maybe I didn't actually, maybe I just completely, okay. So yeah, I found it, guys. I was a little bit worried there. I was thinking, where's the rest of that article gone? So let me go back to the Mikel Antonio, the comments made by David Moyes in regards to Mikel Antonio availability. So let's go back. I might have to read that from the top or I might just stop off from where I left off. Let's go back over to David Moyes. And this is the bit that I don't like, guys, when I try to dissect the couple of lines from David Moyes in relation to Michail Antonio. I don't like this part, so let me know what you guys make of it. He says, but if you're a club paying their wages, you would say it is hardly correct to get your player back at 11 a.m. on Friday to play the Saturday at 12:30 p.m. And I'm thinking, well, whose fault is that? I get the point that you're trying to make. It's an understandable point if you're sitting in the driving seat of David Moyes. But correct me if I'm wrong, guys, we just had the winter transfer window. And with that being said, that was a clear opportunity for David Moyes and West Ham to seek an alternative option to Michail Antonio. So fair enough, you can talk about the club paying their wages, paying Michail Antonio's wages. You're absolutely correct about that. But in the same breath, you could argue that clearly you've pointed out that the club is Michail Antonio's employer. So in this situation, Michail Antonio is simply just your employee. So therefore, it's definitely not a JFF issue, nor is it an issue for or from Michail Antonio's standpoint, because it is the club who should have gone out there in the winter transfer window and tried to seek an alternative for Antonio, given how important he is to his club at the moment being the Hammers. So I think if David Moyes is going to be frustrated or angry or disappointed in anyone, then surely it should be the decision makers. So the person who is in, or the team that's in charge of player recruitment at West Ham, because they're the ones who should have gone out there and actually seek and find someone who could cover Michail Antonio for situations like this. They had the summer and they also had the winter transfer window. So I'm not really sure who David Moyes is trying to shift the blame on, but definitely in this situation, it's not JFF's fault, it's not the Jamaica Football Federation's fault, and it most certainly isn't Michail Antonio's fault. So if overall, obviously the issue rests at the feet of David Moyes and co, in my opinion. But do let me know what you guys make of what's been said by David Moyes and who's to blame, because here I'm saying this issue most certainly rests at the feet of David Moyes, and it's a problem that he should most certainly take up with the decision makers at his club. Let's see what, take off the screen share again. The Federation going to stick with Coach Paul Hall must allow to choose his coaching staff because we cannot be so unfit. And Blake looks rusty. Seems like we were on picnic. David just seems like I wouldn't say that he's a weak coach, but for me, it's just like a few of his comments is just a little bit distasteful. It's not the first time that he's brought up Michail Antonio playing for Jamaica. So he's in a situation now, or a position that he just has to deal with it. There's going to be times where Michail Antonio has to come and play for his country, and he can't do nothing to stop that. Neither can West Ham. The only thing that they can do to protect the club and ensure that the club doesn't miss the void of Michail Antonio is to go and try and get an alternative solution, to go try to get that second striker who can temporarily fill the boots of Michail Antonio when he's not able to show up for his club due to international duties. So not really sure why he felt the need to say that the club pays his wages. So what? So what if the club pays his wages? Does that mean that he's supposed to choose club over country? Because that's the way I feel when it comes to certain clubs, especially clubs in the Premier League. It's almost as if they want players who represent Caribbean countries and African countries to say it is club over country, not country over club. Would they say that if it was a player that plays for the superior countries being your England, your Spain, your Germany? Possibly not. So do let me know again, guys, what you guys think of David Moyes' comments on the Michail Antonio situation. And it's a situation that West Ham pretty much created for themselves. You just had the winter transfer window. You're a club that are apparently chasing a top 4 finish. If you're trying to chase a top 4 finish, then surely you would look to have respectable squad depth within your side, and that goes for every position available, definitely in your striker and forward position. In the sense of when you're looking at Jamaica and England, which is obviously the comparison that I'm trying to touch on, then yes, it is the superior country. If you're looking at world ranking, if you're looking at what they've done in football, they are up there. Also, when you look at their performance in Euros, in the Euro 2020 in last summer, there's only 2 teams that made it to the final, and one of those teams is England. Personally, I'm not somebody who supports them, but to say that they're not one of the superior countries, that's not something that I necessarily agree with, and that's coming from someone who definitely don't support the 3 Lions. So again, guys, do let me know what your thoughts on David Moyes. And before I continue, just to get some of you thinking, I'm going to actually read out that Darren Mattocks. Let's get up Darren Mattocks on my screen. Sure, you all know what Darren Mattocks looks like. There we go, Mr. Darren Mattocks. Mr. Everton Jackson, I'm going to be coming back to you, sir. So just to get you guys thinking before we dive into Darren Mattocks, here's a tweet, my apologies. Here's an Instagram post. There's an Instagram post that came from Darren Mattocks's page, official page, earlier on in the week. And he said, "One thing I know by the hands of the God that I serve, when I play in CONCACAF, teams have to feel it. Canada kept their team and system together for years and now leading with 22 points. As for us, or should I say now them, joking." So let me read that again for you guys, and you can think about Darren Mattocks's choice of words and see what you can make of it, because I think this one is actually completely open to interpretation. I don't think there's any right answer, and I don't necessarily think that there's any wrong answers. It's widely open to interpretation, in my opinion. So let me read that again for you guys once more before we move on briefly, and then we're going to reverse and come back on that Darren Mattocks. So he said, guys, "One thing I know by the hands of the God that I serve, when I play in CONCACAF, teams have to feel it. Canada kept their team and system together for years, and they're now leading with 22 points. As for us, or should I say now them, joking." So let me know what you guys think about Mr. Darren Mattocks. I'm going to take Darren off my screen. So let me put back myself. Where's Darren? Let's see if I can remove Darren. Take down Darren, put myself back up, and let me pop over to the comment section and see what you guys are saying. Club over country, that is always it is always, and you've seen it earlier on towards the opening ceremony of the AFCON, right? For a few words that were distasteful comments that was made by Klopp of Liverpool. And Klopp's not the only top manager in any top league that feels a certain way about the AFCON or the Gold Cup competition or any competition like what Everton has just said, where the smaller nations are concerned. Darren Mattocks get a raw deal with the national team. What do you mean by that, Karumi? Please elaborate with that one. I think you might be onto something, but I don't want to draw assumption. I would much rather if you provided clarity, because it is your comment. Darren just need to tell you he would have been in the national team straight. Let me know again, guys, what you guys make of Darren Mattocks' comments. So far, the only person who's talking at the moment is Karumi. And I would love to hear what the rest of you think. Super Nick, Wayne as well, Everton. I want to hear what you guys think about Darren Mattocks' comments. I'm going to be sharing my comments on Darren Mattocks. Something a little bit more soft and light in terms of topic of conversation, which will require me to turn on my shared screen again. And this one might put a smile on your face, guys. This is in regards to the former former skipper, former captain, Liam Moore, of Reading. He still belongs to Reading, guys. Let's point that out. You should be able to see that on my screen. This is a statement, club announcement, I should say, from the Stoke City official website. And it says, Stoke City are delighted to welcome Liam Moore to the Bet365 Stadium on loan from Reading for the remainder of the season, with Tom Ince making a similar move in the opposite direction. The 29-year-old Jamaican international made more than 230 first-team appearances for the Royals, many of them as captain, and will bring vast experience to Michael O'Neill's defensive resources. And the manager went on to saying that I'm delighted that we have managed to get the signing of Liam over the line before the deadline. As well as experience, he will bring versatility to the squad for the second half of the season. So we know that Liam is a versatile player, but more so, aside from the fact that I'm happy that he's but temporarily, that is, because it does say that clearly it's on loan. It's a loan agreement for the remainder of the season. So that simply means that he still essentially is a Reading player. But with this situation, I'm pleased for Liam, because it just means that he can temporarily begin to work on a new chapter of his life, and he's also able to perhaps clear his mind a bit. Aside from the announcement around the deal, I'm particularly pleased with how people have reacted to Liam Moore, particularly around his birthday, with all that was said around Liam Moore, particularly where the club is concerned. He's been made out, I think they've tried to paint a nasty picture, a sinister picture of Liam Moore and who perhaps he is in their eyes. But there's also always two sides to every story. And I think we saw that on Liam Moore's birthday. I'm going to read out a few tweets here, guys, from a few people who either rub shoulders with Liam, be it former club staff, people in the community, or ex-teammates. And one of the messages says, happy birthday to this guy who helped me so much when I worked at RFC. I'm assuming that's Reading FC. Kind and generous with his time, and did so much more for the fans and the community that many will never know. And absolutely right. The name on this says Amanda, and you're right about that, Amanda. Had you not stepped forward and talk about the work that Liam Moore does in the community, no one would know, because I'm not in that community. I don't know no one who's from that community. So it's nice to see that he's a guy who has time for the people, ordinary people, people in the community. So that's helped to paint a positive picture of Liam Moore. We move on, and this is clearly from a player. It says, this writing's a little bit small, I can just about make it out. It says, happy birthday, brother, and that's at Liam Moore. Forever thankful for all the help and guidance you've given me. Again, another positive message there on Liam Moore's birthday. And this one is from our ex-reggae boy. You can recognize that face. If you can't recognize that face, perhaps you can read the name at the top. Garth McCleary. He says, guys, and this one is quite sweet and powerful. Reputation is what strangers think of you. Character is what your friends think of you. So we've seen so many positive stuff, and this one, it ends on this one. This appears to be, yes, it is another former player for Reading, that is. And it says, looked after me from the day I signed. Loads of love always, brother, and at Liam Moore. Happy birthday. So there are a few people, and I'm sure, no one forced them to come out and wish Liam Moore happy birthday, but all of them had positive things to say about Liam, which is completely different to how he's been painted recently, especially when you look at that. My apologies, guys. That club statement by Reading some weeks ago when they announced stripping the captain's armband from Liam Moore. It's quite refreshing to see that he has people in his corner again, be it someone who has rubbed shoulders with Liam either in the community where the club is concerned or ex-players. It's nice to see that there is a good guy there, someone who has time for the average human being. So that was refreshing to see where Liam Moore is concerned, I think it provided a glimpse of the man or the person that is Liam Moore. So let me know what you guys think on the Liam Moore situation with his club. His club temporarily at the moment is Stoke City, on loan at Stoke City from Reading FC. So let me guys know what you let me know what you guys think. Confused myself there. Let me know what you guys think about Liam Moore. Let me know what you think about his character. Are you on side with what the people have said, people on Twitter, people who know him well, or are you leading towards what the club are trying to depict of Liam Moore's character? Good evening to yourself, Wayne. How are you? How's your week been so far? Good to see you on here again. Good to see you on here again. Let's see. Rhetoric, but it's not part of the team, so he's a fan and gets emotional. I agree with the part where he says it is a joke thing. It's good to see that there's some agreement there, and I like how you ripped apart the comments by Leia, and I think that's a good approach with what was said by Darren Mattocks. If you're new to the stream and you want me to read out Darren Mattocks' comments, I will actually read it out again before I share my opinion on what was said from Darren Mattocks' Instagram account some weeks ago. What discipline you most about the World Cup qualification? Disappointed, Kurumi? Are you asking me what disappointed me the most about the World Cup qualification? I have to have a think about that. You've thrown something at me unexpectedly. I might have to have a think about that one, Karumi, before I sign off for the night. Everton is saying Mattocks is obviously upset and not getting a call up for the World Cup qualifiers. What he says is not really on. Okay, see, now this is quite interesting. There's absolutely no growth in the Jamaica football. Now, this is interesting, Everton. Who so far has touched on this? I think it's Everton and Everton and Duckland. You guys, I think it's both of you so far that's touched on it. And I don't think you're far off. I'm not disagreeing with neither one of you. I think we share similar opinions. And I'm going to get into that soon, maybe in the next couple of minutes or so. Kurumi, very rude of me, guys. Let me pop the comment, the link to the live stream. So if anyone wants to pop on, you're more than welcome to jump onto my live stream. You know the golden rule, do try to make it child friendly. So that simply means please be cautious of your language. And also try to have a decent or a well-lit background so that I can see your faces. Would be nice to put a couple faces to some of your names. I do know a few of you already, like Kurumi. Definitely know what Kurumi looks like, but still would be nice to see Kurumi in a well-lit room or a well-lit space. Good day. Good day to yourself. How are you? How's your week going so far? Sometimes you wonder what this really mean, Black Lives Matter, because the limited publicity the African Cup get on when our players come to play for their countries in the Caribbean sounds like politics, doesn't it? It sounds like politics, that one that you touched on, Kurumi. Yeah, I figured that's what you meant with your previous comment. So I think you asked what's disappointed me the most where the Reggae boys are concerned in terms of their World Cup qualifiers. Try and get back into that one. That's another topic in itself. That is another topic in itself. Of course, Karumi, a matter of fact, if you don't come on, I'm not going to be happy. I'm actually not going to be happy. So I would love for you to come on here. Would absolutely love for you to come on here. I might hold my discussion on Darren Mattocks until you come on here, Kurumi. because I have a few things that I want to touch on with Darren Mattocks, and I think safe to say that within this small space, we're pretty much on the same lines. With regards to Darren Mattocks, I don't think, first of all, I definitely don't think he said anything that was out of line or disrespectful. I don't think that what he said was untrue. Someone in the comment section already touched on that. But I do think that there is more to what Darren Mattocks said. And I think it's just a matter of sitting down and really thinking or giving some deep thought into what Darren Mattocks said earlier on his Instagram during the week, during the start of the week. And I also think the timing of Darren Mattocks's Instagram posts, that was quite something. I think that really summarized Darren Mattocks's true intention of his Instagram post. So guys, I'm going to be waiting to see if we can get Kurumi to join me on my live stream. And if he does come in here, then myself and Kurumi will probably form up a conversation where we can talk about Darren Mattocks and other things to do with the Reggae Boys as well, be it the current World Cup qualifying campaign, or maybe some other stuff where the youth is concerned, because the youth is the next generation. They are the up and coming, and perhaps now is the right time to build a team around a few of the youngsters that we've seen on shows so far. Wayne is saying Darren Mattocks is loudmouth, needs to relax. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to an opinion, Wayne. So I'm not going to challenge you on that one, because you are entitled to share your views. Darren has shared his views already. So have a few of the current Reggae Boys. They've chimed in and have given their view, particularly on Darren Mattocks's recent Instagram post. So let me know how you guys are doing so far. Let me know how your week has been. Let me know how your weekend is shaping up. If there's anything you want me to touch on before I sign off for the night, do let me know. Kurumi, do let me know if you're able to jump on tonight. So as I said, guys, I'm just gonna wait briefly before I talk about Darren Mattocks, because that is the main focus why I decided to come on here tonight. I did promise you guys earlier on during the last live stream, which would have been the 1-0 loss against Costa Rica, that I will come back on and talk about Darren Mattocks. And so here I am. So be a little bit patient with Kurumi. If he's going to come on, I trust that he might. And no worries if he doesn't, we can just talk about the conversation, or I can talk about the conversation with yourselves. So far, guys, we've touched on Chelsea. Just to remind you all, Chelsea women's team, that is, will be taking on Manchester City in the Conti Cup final. And that is two clubs that have Reggae Girlz on either side. So Chelsea is the club for Drew Spence, and Bunny is the player for Manchester City. So like I said, come March, surely for that cup final, we will be smiling from ear to ear, because either way, whichever team wins it, there will be a Reggae girl who will lift that trophy. So keep an eye on that one. And I'm going to be keeping you guys updated. If it's possible to do a live stream on that day with that game, I will do that. If I'm not able to attend the game myself, that is. I mean, despite of trophy, he is still within his right to share an opinion, isn't he? Because if that's the case, we could look through the whole Reggae Boy squad and say, well, what trophy have you won? You have not won this. You've not won that. Therefore, don't speak. I don't think that's the case. Don't think that's the case here at all. So aside from the fact that he might not have lifted trophies, regardless if he's lifted trophies or not, he's still entitled to an opinion, so long as he does so respectfully. And in this case, I don't think that he's spoken out of pocket. I don't think he's been disrespectful at all, but that's just my opinion. It is safe to come. Always safe to come out. Always safe to come out, Super Nick. I'm not going to make fun of you with your team because my team is no different to yours. So the man of the moment has arrived, guys. This is a first time, so this has definitely made my night. So let me bring up the man himself. He needs no introduction. Needs no introduction. You must be familiar with his face. You must be familiar with his knowledge on football. So how are you, sir? How you doing?
I'm great, More
Yeah,
life. Yeah, man, as long as they can get up each day and the breath of life run through your body.
yeah.
Maybe live with that. Someone look at time and I'm poor. Just give me life.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for offering to come on my live stream. Was actually quite pleased when you mentioned that. I was like, yeah, of course, why not?
I think I can give you 20 minutes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
my
I love
grandmother don't feel so well, so I need to go home and help her out.
that. Okay. Say
Yeah.
that last bit again for me.
My grandmother,
Oh,
um,
bless her. Okay. Okay. I,
so
I definitely grandma's a pressure, so I
yeah,
definitely won't
man,
be
and she
taking up
cook the
too much
food.
of
You have to
your
make sure
time.
you take care of her.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the circle of life, isn't it? Once a
Yeah.
man, twice a child. So I won't take up too much of your time.
I was packing up to go home because I'm at work and
Hmm.
something say I must look at my phone and I saw your program and I said, let me spend 5 minutes. So then say if somebody can come on, so me say if I can come on and say me 2 senses.
I'm looking forward to hearing this. So, because of timing, guys, we've got roughly call it 15 to 20 minutes with the coach himself. And with that being said, I'm going to dive right into Darren Mattocks. I'm going to reread the comment from Darren Mattocks that was posted on Darren Mattocks' official Instagram account earlier on in the week. And it goes by saying, one thing I know by the hands of God that I serve, when I play in CONCACAF, teams have to feel it. Canada kept their team and their system together for years and now leading with 22 points. As for us, or should I say now them, jolting. So, Karumi, how you feeling about that comment there from Darren Mattocks?
Um, I think, as I said before, I think he get a raw deal because of his personality. Because it was stemmed that he was quote unquote bleaching and is not conducive to what should be for the national team. So
Yeah.
in terms of football, I don't think him get the respect that him due because basically in the period when he was talking 2017, 2016, he was the man. He was the man. Him and Romario Williams was the
Can you
man.
remember the days with when he was linking up with Giles Barnes?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. He was the man, right? I coach Excelsior, and he was
Yeah.
going Bridgeport, and he was one of the prospect coming through, and he went to college. He played for Akram. He do well. He win. He win. Him got drafted in the MLS, and as I said to you, I love MLS, and
Mm-hmm. Same.
if we as players playing the game and have the ability to go to college and can do both the game and your schooling, go to college. Some of
Mm-hmm.
these players have some agent, have them made all over the place, and I call them Ajax. You understand?
Yeah.
And them swing them head all over the place and them just end up in a midriff. Go to school. MLS is a chance and it's a big chance. You you get that opportunity to go to MLS and play, you can take your game to a next level. So he was the man. Mattocks was the man, but
Mm-hmm.
we bring lifestyle and personality into the mix. Who remember Dennis Rodman?
Darius Man, flamboyant character, right?
Nobody
Very
have a
outgoing.
personality and like him.
Yeah,
We
very
say
outgoing.
when the chance come for him to come to the Bulls, and when Jordan meet with Pippen and say, hey, this going to happen, you know, Pippen and say,
Yeah.
boy, it can't work, you know, because that man they broke my nose already, you know. And I say, hey, what happen? Or your finger them look, you don't want a next ring on it. He's the only man in the NBA right now can get you 20 to 25 to 30 rebound. And we don't have nobody like that on our team. So you have to put on the personality aside, but when you go on the court, you're going to do what you need him to do. That is a big thing, you know, and we have to understand that we need to get to a global stage where we understand personalities. It's not going to change. Personality not going to change.
Yeah. And
And
I think, sorry to cut you off there, Karumi, and I think the fact that you've touched on personality, I think that's definitely something like that you said, you know, quite rightly, it's not going to change. If anything, what happens to treating all players equally the same with regards to respect? Because I think that's one of the things that people fail to understand with a player like Darren Mattocks and with his social media comments, which took place earlier on this week. I think if you separate the comment from the player, I think more people are likely to agree with what was said, because there was a lot of truth there in Darren Mattox's Instagram post. I don't think personally, I've read it a number of times, and I honestly don't think that he was wrong with what he was said. But I do think the reason why it's probably irritated a few people is simply because it's Darren Mattocks. I think when you look through, when you comb through those words from Darren Mattocks, I think he's actually saying, you know, looking at the style of play and possibly the commitment isn't matching up to the intensity and physicality of our opponents. And as people in the 12th, as the 12th man, how many times have we said something similar to what Darren Mattocks has said? I also think possibly he's touching on the desire to play with a warrior's mentality, I think is what he's saying. And this is why I said Darren Mattox's comment is open to interpretation, because I could be so wrong, but I think he's touching on the desire to play with a warrior mentality, because I think it's safe to say, no disrespect to the boys, but as a collective, it's non-existent. It's not there in the DNA of the team.
No, but if you can recall, I was on your program when we were playing Panama, and I've been saying to you, oh, my team looks so, and I don't know if I'm using unfit as a word, but we just don't look. It's one thing I can teach you about the game, how to pass and so forth. I can't teach you effort. Effort
Yeah,
has to come
yeah,
from within.
yes,
And
yes,
I don't. All right, Costa Rica game. We know lose we're out. No matter how we lose we're out. But the desire, the effort, that drive in us, yeah, we say from this whistleblower, we not have tired in our name, you know. It's all gun blazing. So when the whistle blow, we say, all right, we lose. But me I draw myself off of the field because me give everything. Me never feel like that desire there. When me look on the match card, me make 4 change. Almost I make 4 change. And me have 5 change. And me do no. Me have 2 more games where if I lose, it's irrelevant. So everybody that is a forward and that is an attacking person, me I show them on, you know. And it's not an indictment on the court, but me I say, based
yeah,
on the situation that we in, we lose it out. So everybody that is, me not taking off Mikel, you know. Everybody that is a forward-minded player, you might have to
yeah,
go play a wing back and left back, and if we are go forward because we need to get back. At least give us some hope. And but as I said before, 2002, 2006, 2010, 14, 18, 22. I don't want to say 26 because it don't come yet, but we have to change. We have to change collectively. For a team to qualify for a World Cup, it take private sector and it take the government. Money make the mayor run.
yeah, yeah,
And everybody have to sing the same tune.
absolutely,
We have to sing the
absolutely.
same tune. And the person them that is in charge, they have to be visionary. One of the beauty that I did love about Captain Burrell, him tell us him I go World Cup. And the people in our ability, but him tell you him is a visionary, him see it.
Yeah, speak it
And
into existence.
you have to speak it and you work towards it.
Yeah,
And if you calculate our qualification, even before the qualification start, even from the Nation Cup, the consistency in terms of personnel, the debacle in terms of payment and how much they must get, and
Loads of distraction.
yeah, and what the end up result? We still there home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We at
Mm-hmm.
home. The only person them that can go to the World Cup now, is Mr. Ricketts and him committee. That is the only person them can, because them get tickets and them get their part of the FIFA Federation. But I'm disappointed. You know why? What is my biggest disappointment? When I look at the 7 teams plus us make 8, no disrespect in no aspect, I don't see a team that quality that is supreme. Where I could say, boy, when we go down at this team, you go, nothing no much different, but it's just that if you don't have organization and planning,
Mm-hmm.
you're behind the A ball from day one. There is no substitute for that,
Mm-hmm.
No stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's timing is a very important thing, and we never deal with the timing properly. And it starts with we play the Mexico game, and we came back home and we played the Panama game, and we lost 3-0. It's like we're going down a slope from there. You understand?
Yeah.
We bring the English based players them home. 5 of them or 6 of them was here training, and then after the game finish, say boy, the weather was too hot. We shouldn't start that. So me I say, but I'm to the trainer, I'm to the assistant coach, I'm to the doctor to say, hey, based on the condition that these players are coming in at the time that they are here, I think it is best for us to start to bring 2 from the bench and maybe don't play 2, and maybe don't play them. But
Yeah.
those things me question. And when you question those things, people say, boy, you fight this, you fight that. But it's just the reality. We need to get to the wider world. What is happening out in the wider world?
Absolutely.
We cannot be, true, me I say something about ex-players. Me against it. No. When I watch ESPN and me hear them talk about certain individual, me not hear an individual making a complaint. So we need to be more open-minded to what is happening out there. Right? The situation with Nandy Lou in the game against
Mexico.
Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And them, yeah, him have to take him beating because him been playing at the highest level for so much time. And you wonder, some of the time you question and you ask yourself why him don't reach to that next stage. Maybe these are the things why. Because at the highest level, no club don't want a defender that get red card every other game. So we have a lot of things to answer. And as I said before, if they choose to keep Paul Hall to be the coach for the national team and give him a run, I think them need to give him the option to select in backroom staff. I saw an article where he mentioned about in the Panama game, him learn about his players, but also him learn about his staff. That's the value. Those little statements, take away the players part, I learn about my staff. So as a coach, you need people that you can trust. You can have beside of you can say, guess what? When the chips are done, if we ever go cuss, when the game finish, we now cuss in front of the players, we'll go in our room and we might thump it out, but nobody now say we. And we keep it right there. That is a
Mm-hmm.
successful team.
Mm-hmm.
That one when the team lose them and say, oh, I tell her make we lose because she did say for put on a man there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't and take off him. It don't work. So team win, team lose. So that's how I learn it. So I'm disappointed because I think we could have get there with more support from the different angles. I'm coming to work and I seen my friend Tallawah and I said, boy, Jamaica play later, you know. What, the cricket team? Not being honest, I'm not being, but it's the truth. I'm just cricket boys, man. But true, I'm in football, me no. But when
You have to sell the product.
you have to sell the product. You remember
Yeah.
you saying no, you are doing a commentary and you are doing your blog. And you have your strain here. Me I watch a part in my living room. I always play that. A Kevin Stewart. Women not seen a name on him jersey.
Ridiculous. And this is coming from two people who watch Jamaican football, like the guys in the comment section on a regular, and even us, we're there thinking, who is this? Because the team chop and changes so often. So the person that was in the, for example, the center of the park for this match might not be in the center of the park for the next match. So you're looking and thinking, who is this? You don't know why, because there's no names on the players' jerseys.
Yeah, man. At 2022, this is not.
Painful.
Yeah, man, and there is no excuse. And from the time I hear, so we have this super contract with Umbro. I know I can't get a jersey yet. I can't even see where you can purchase one. So when you calculate and you check up all those things, you tell me now, Tallawah TV, we don't go qualify.
The odds were stacked against us, weren't highly, highly stacked against.
We met the odds them stacked against us, with the things that we do.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And one of the reasons why I don't disagree with you, you touched on something that I think is pivotal if we're serious about forget a new chapter, picking up a new book and starting off from a fresh page. You touched on something which basically alludes to us not airing out our dirty laundry, and it's something that I've beat so many times. I absolutely dislike the fact that we are so obsessed with airing out our dirty laundry. You said, and because if that's the case, then you kind of show your cards to your opponents, be it intentionally or unintentionally. You're showing what you're all about, because they know that you are not together as one. You can put tweets out there all day long and say that you are a team, but you're not acting like a team. And that goes for everyone that surrounds the team. So that goes from the federation to the staff, to the team itself, and also the 12th man as well. Like you said, it's a collective effort. It's a team effort.
When a coaching a team, and you having all these issues, you think him only think about the X and O that him going to do and the tactics on the field. Him want to know how you live, how you sleep, how you drink, how you react to each other. So when him go back to his team, him can say, go at them are going to crack. Once you score at them are going to start, are you cause it, or me cause it? Are you?
Yeah.
So we have to change. If we don't change, we could have bring Clap 1, Pep 2, Conti 3. You name them. Nothing not going to change. Your house, you have to fix up in the house and put the furniture them in place, and you dust them off, and we work together. And you got a situation where players have to put them in line and work. You know what is my biggest issue? You see, this thing about local and overseas and English, it could have been stopped by the coach. I say from you put your foot down from the first day, as the coach say, it name Jamaica. If anybody mention about local or overseas, you're not in my team. So you lay the foundation from early. But you as the coach have to be the big man, because the big man can't say, me only talk to English base, and me only talk to local base only. You talk to Jamaica, and you talk to the team. The team consists of everybody. So this notion of him prefer this player or that player is because of what you say out of your mouth. I rather talk to local base, and Paul will talk to overseas. It's from that day you mentioned out of your mouth, somebody should have called him now in a room and say, just take a plane, go back down to Moby and don't come back to Kingston. Because you're bringing differences in their program. So, I'm disappointed because the quality, pound for pound, the quality was there. But if you don't bring them together a year or 2 years before and make them play football, if a player is not available for a simple practice game, you have to take note of him. It cannot be a situation that is only when World Cup qualification come around, you bring him. That's one. Maybe the players make themselves available, and JFF say, boy, throw them now no money, them now send them. And then we, the public, now beat down on the player, them and say, boy, them only want to come for World Cup qualification.
Transparency, that's why the need for transparency is so crucial, isn't it?
So, as I said, transparency. So, there's a lot of things need to be fixed. And it starts with the ground root. if you check back 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, I'm not thinking about going back. We went to about 3 World Cup. Senior World Cup, under 17 World Cup, under 20 World Cup. So there were consistency in terms of the preparation and the scouting. And in that period, the local Premier League was one of you don't want to miss it. You want to go and watch. No, we need to get back that league back up to a standard where we can be competitive. And the next thing, the players are going to USL now. Fine. But you know what is my issue with those players going to USL? They go there and make bed. They make a living room, they make a house, and they make a yard. They must look into their game and say, this is just a bridge to where I want to go. But I'm telling you, Tallawah, I'm a Jamaican and you're a Jamaican. I'm a ghetto youth in Jamaica. I can tell you the mentality of most players that leave here. When they go overseas and then come back to the community, me are the man. So me run the community now. So me run the liquor can, and so it all good and well. A big ball them they are foreign.
Yeah.
So you get settled in and just feel comfortably in a zone where you think that this is okay. But behind everything, you know it is not okay, but you just only satisfy for small pieces. So as players, we need to use the USL as a bridge to get out.
Yeah.
It name get out. You're not a bed there, because if you calculate what they get on a monthly basis, it is little more than the local Premier League. But in terms of making a livelihood, because you know, a professional footballer, you don't go more than 10 to 12 years.
You also have to have a plan B, because we all know
plan B.
all it takes is that one unfortunate injury and you may never recover. Look at someone like Diaby. You're familiar with Diaby because you're an Arsenal man and you know the quality that that player had. Could have been one of the best players in the world.
And him
Incredible quality.
I'm have to retire
Early. And he had I think his degree was in law. So I think as players, be it young players, whether you're in the academy or you're in that academy, the bridge between academy and senior first team, that slight gap there. That's the time where you try to upskill yourself.
You know who's a powerful youth in this team? Ethan Pinnock. I think he have a degree in some sports, something. But at the same time, I'm not going to single out to say, boy, everybody going to be a book person. You're around youngster where you understand, so guess what? He's not for school. Him can go right to the professional level. But what you do with him, you guide him. Hey, make sure you're safe. Hey, make sure you put an investment in place. Try to see if you can go in real estate.
Yeah.
So you try guide them to the step they need to go and keep them in track. So for me personally, we have a lot of deadwood need to come out and change for us to sit 2026, because this thing and this notion, I'm saying it from now, 7/34, the 4th of the 2nd, 2022, this notion about Mexico gone, USA gone, Canada gone for 2026, and we are gonna have about 4 or 5 more spots, and one of them we are gonna get them. You have to go and play for it.
You have to earn it.
Honduras disappointed. Costa Rica don't make it. El Salvador is there. Nicaragua, Guatemala, Belize. You name them, Curacao, Suriname, and Trinidad trying to fix back them. So there is nothing in place that there is for you. You have to go and earn it. And we need a lot of changes. Honestly, I'm disappointed that we're not in it same way, because it's not a situation that there is guaranteed that you must. But we shouldn't be in this phase right now, and we're not in it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. If anything, with us and with our quality that you have touched on, if anything, worst case scenario, like you said, it should be going down to the wire with us and that team fighting for that all important fourth spot.
If it happened that it was the last game, our sector last game that When I say to you, boy, Tallawah, we try.
Yeah.
But I don't think we try. If
But do
somebody
you think that's why I said, going back to what you were talking about with Darren Mattocks, that do you think it's a case with what Darren Mattocks said in his early Instagram post, that it's a matter of people not separating the comments from the player? Because like you said, you're touching on the fact that we have to try. And one of the stuff that Darren Mattocks said, that, you know, one thing about him, teams in the CONCACAF have to feel it.
and him and him is true, because when he was playing, right? Remember, you know, if it's one thing you know about Darren Mattocks, he's confident.
Very.
He's fearless.
Very confident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very, very fearless. Right? And yeah, me a jump if this him come from, no, him fearless. It's somebody that when him go on the field, him going to give you everything. So I think him could have gotten a chance, him could have gotten a try, because we try everything, right? Me have a player when me used to coach, Nico Bread. Don't get
Massive
a
fan
look,
of Nico Brett.
right? So I listened to the coach from Canada sometime last year in an interview, right, on YouTube, and he was saying that, like, the host was asking him why him don't go for players in Europe and such. Him say him trying to find a mix, and his goal is to go and look for players that fit his system. And him say him look at the USL, him look at the MLS, NSL, him look at the Mexican league, him look at the leagues them across the region that he is in first. Then him go to Europe, in Portugal and so forth. And if you don't, it no matter how good you are, if you don't fit what him looking for in his system and his style of play and his approach, him not bringing you. So our notion is USA players them not good. Go and check Canada team. They are unbeaten. Go and check the Canada team and see how much those players come through that ranking. So it's all about the coach and what he need and what he going to implement and what he going to insist upon. So we have a lot of work. So you have to help in Tallawah.
We're definitely, it's a collective effort where the 12th man is concerned, isn't it? Think
You know what you know what is insulting? I saw something about maybe an hour or two ago where they say the Ministry of Health said, boy, we can. Is that
Yep.
It's like me sit down and look on my phone and me and say, so Tallawah, you're going to come from England, come watch a game now?
Yeah, why not? Why not? So, because it's so important. Because it's two games that's so important, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, really? And I think this speaks, if we're going to be mad at anyone here, it shouldn't even be mad at Darren Mattocks, because like I said, what Darren said, he's speaking pure facts. If you're going to be mad at anyone, be mad at that announcement. That's what everybody should be beating the same drum at, that announcement, because the timing of it is so distasteful and disrespectful. Like, they don't even care. You could have let this blow over and say, let me make the announcement in a week's time, or let me make the announcement at the end of the month. No, they've just gone. They didn't even let this one simmer.
But I don't want anybody chastise the young man, you know. The truth is just the truth.
It is. And what I think we've probably, as the 12th man, we've probably missed an opportunity here to actually credit Darren Mattocks for his transparency. Because when I comb through that comment from Darren Mattocks, he's basically said everything that we've said as the 12th man. He's echoing everything we've said at the 12th man. And the way he ended that Instagram post as well, for me, it actually gives transparency to the internal divide, the evident divide that's there, where he says, now, so let me go back and read the end of that. He says Canada kept their team and system together for years and now leading with 22 points. And for us, or should I say now them, doped him. So clearly, whether you agree with the it's a case of homegrown players versus players born in the diaspora. Doesn't matter if you agree with that or not. Clearly, this is a player that's saying that there is a divide there. Whether the divide is coming from the JFF or whether the divide is coming from the coaching setup or player versus player, there's a divide there. So I think it's an opportunity for us to actually say thank you to Darren Mattocks for adding clarity to a community, to a conversation that we know so well. We've spoken about these things that Darren Mattocks has touched on since not even the Gold Cup, since we were in Japan earlier this year. We spoke about it, but the moment a player like Darren Mattocks steps up, and because Darren Mattocks is like Marmite and people either like him or they don't like him, it's a case of, oh, it's Darren Mattocks, he's talking nonsense. I don't think he's actually talking nonsense at all.
But the proof is there.
You can't argue with facts. You cannot argue with facts.
Where are we now?
Exactly. Exactly.
Tears of sorrows.
Yeah.
No tears of joy. And
another thing, because I know you have to go, I'm gonna bring in another familiar face for us all. And before you go, because I actually want to remind someone, and I think Darren Mattocks's Instagram post is perfect timing, because he posted this on the Monday for me in the UK, and we played Panama the night before, again UK timing in mind. So the timing of Darren Mattocks' post is actually quite telling. And the reason why I say it's quite telling here, people, I think it was Wayne said, what has Darren Mattocks won? I think Darren Mattocks does actually have a trophy where his club career is concerned. I saw Wayne said, what has he won for the country? Look across and this is why we have to stop separating these players, because we have not lifted nothing as a collective, as a team in recent years. So stop scapegoating our players and saying, what has Darren Mattocks won for his country? What has that person? What have we won recently as a collective? Absolutely nothing. So we shouldn't even be saying what has Darren Mattocks won for his country, because that's laughable. If Darren Mattocks, if Jamaica won something when Darren Mattocks was playing, then obviously that means Darren Mattocks has won something for his country. But when was the last time he was triumphant? We probably have to look back at, when was it? When Winfred Schaefer was here. And then before Winfred Schaefer, we have to look back at when Mr. John Barnes was here, right? But before I bring on our guest, I'm going to bring up something else. And this is why I say that the timing on Darren Mattocks' Instagram post speaks volumes. And bear with me there, Coach, because I know you have to go. Now, I actually want to have you around for the final bit. Super Nick, I'm going to pop your tweet, keep on saying tweet, your comment off screen. I'm going to remove my comment so everyone can read my next shared, and then I'm going to bring in our guests as well. So let me put up the shared screen and let's pop over here, Coach, and look at why I said that I think that Darren Mattocks' comment is perfect timing for those who are saying, what has Darren done for his country? Coach quite rightly reminded us that when Darren Mattocks played back in the day, when we used to see Darren Mattocks play, when he's playing alongside the likes of Giles Barnes, the quality and the hunger and the desire was there. You know what you're getting from Darren Mattocks and Infor Mattocks. Let's go up and look at Darren Mattocks. You okay there, Coach?
2 minutes.
You good, Coach?
Yeah, man.
Sure?
Yeah, man.
All right, let's go over here, guys, and look at this one. Is dated from 2019. Let's remind ourselves of this moment, because I think it might have slipped the memory of a lot of us. Darren Mattocks, Jamaica beat Panama, advanced to semi-finals of the 2019 Gold Cup. There's that glorious picture there with Darren Mattocks and another fan favorite, Mr. Hacker himself and Boza. Let's remind ourselves of what happened in 2019 here, guys. Jamaica advanced to the semi-finals of the 2019 Gold Cup for the third straight time, defeating Panama 1-0 on Sunday at the Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Darren Mattocks converted a penalty in the 75th minute for the only goal of the game. So when people are saying Darren Mattocks don't have a leg to stand on, or why is Darren Mattocks speaking, this is the reason. The headline speaks for itself. As Coach has said, quite rightly so, and for myself, you cannot argue with facts. This is why Darren Mattocks is speaking, and that is the reason why I think the timing of his Instagram post actually timed it beautifully well. And if I was in Darren Mattocks' situation, I think I would have done the same, and many players would have done the same.
What one of the issue that we have out here is that if I know and I'm the federation, you must just accept what we know. Nobody else must know. We know everything. We are in a global world. And the global world tell us that if you can read and write and comprehend, you need to have an opinion too. You understand? And right now, there is nobody in the federation can tell us that, guess what, we did this and we did that. We are not at the World Cup, or we are not in the stage at the target that we set, right?
Yeah.
And that young man, even you remember I think is the America game that we were going to play, and we were short in numbers. I think him just joined the team in the USL that where Lambert played for, Phoenix Rising.
Phoenix Rising, yeah.
And we were short in numbers in terms of personnel because of COVID and so forth. We could have brought him, We could have brought him in, Because Mattocks, because remember, players know players. And we all know players have fear for players. That is simple. So, irrespective of who is and what him do off the field, I don't business about that. So once you go on the field and you switch on, me not a problem. If you when the game finish and you don't tell me thanks, me not a problem because you score 2 goals. Me glad, me nice. Me keeping my job. So we need to change the mentality that we have. We need to change. You come, Blake, play, him don't keep good, and you make a comment about him, it become personal. No. We need to come out of that. When it become disrespectful is when you become personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't go personal. We deal with for me, if you want me to talk anything about football, I deal with football. I don't business about nothing personal with you. I don't care. I'm not interested. Football. So when I say to you that Mattocks, it is true. He should have been around. We could have given him a chance. We could
have given him a chance. 100% could have given him a chance. 100% could have given him a chance.
All right. Much as I was saying Nico Brett, if they me bring in Mattocks, because he's been there, done that. Experience, and it will also help the player. Like him, because how old is he? He's not old.
Let me remind myself of Darren Mattocks' age, because I've actually forgotten his age myself. Let's see how old he is before I make a guess. He is currently 31, so he's on the positive side of 30. But before we continue there, Coach, let me bring in Chemo, because he's actually been waiting backstage quite patiently, and I don't want him to think that I've forgotten all about him. So let me just bring him in. Mr. Chemo, how are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing? I'm here listening to you guys dropping some important topic. Night, Coach Karun.
All right, protection. I see how we are my team jersey.
Yeah. It never planned, it never planned. But just it never planned. Hey, to be honest, I something I see a while ago, I must say me a come on the stream, any stream, any one of the stream then. So I say, I come on Tallawah tonight. Because I just watch from what they understand in the comment section. And I saw that they are gonna have a Gibbs relay soon, and they're gonna give permission to 10,000 vaccinated fans. And imagine we needed funds for 3 crucial games, and we did not get it. So now questions are going to be posed to the government. I see a couple of the players even posted it a while ago. That's really sad, I want to know what kind of explanation would they give. You understand? 10,000 fans, and we were wanted 15 because they got 5 for the last time against USA, and now we couldn't even get back the 5,000. Now we see that they're allowing 5,000 10,000 vaccinated fans for the games. So that's really sad.
No surprise.
Really sad. But they love track and field. The government love track and field. They don't like football.
You see, I might touch something that I shouldn't touch, but you see, one of the problem with the society that I live in is that we play too much politics with development. You understand? And as I said to you before, if you are not doing it, it's not complete. They have to be the one doing it. So it's a sad situation we're in, and until we can get that out of the way and understand that football comes first. The question with the fine of Theodore Whitmore impact everything. We're not hiding it. It impact everything. Why the situation become what it is. You understand? It's sad because the result is just the result. You're in a business where you win, lose, or draw. Depends on the competition. After 8 3s, 24, you only have 7 points. If I'm a coach and I am 7 points based on the situation, if I get fired, I can't question it. So that is just the reality. You understand? So we are out. We are the sad thing about it when you see all these things coming out, it just drive a nail in your heart. So boy, for 2026 is. So in reality, and then when you look at these players like Weekend coming now, and you see them playing, you say, look on the quality we have, man. Look on Mikel Antonio. Look on a beast of a striker we have. Look on Ethan Pino. Center half, where if he was here maybe from X time and him can get the camaraderie and the collective with the group, and would have been, so it's like spill milk. We are in spill milk state right now, and it's like we alone here left feeling the hurt. You understand? We are feeling the hurt. So I'm just bittered.
It's just so much there to
But are you confident? What are you guys think? You guys have confidence in the future for 2026 and the Nations League and the Gold Cup? Because we have to take it stage by stage, to build for the World Cup, the World Cup, And I think that we have the talent here. It's not like we don't have the talent here, but it's the effort, the system that is actually putting into the foundation and the development of these players. It's all about nurturing the talent, because we are talented just as a Canada and a Mexico and a Panama right now and a USA. We are as talented as them, but it's the nurturing. And I realize a lot of things in for this campaign. I wasn't paying much attention to Jamaica football, but you guys on these platforms let me come to reality and learn a lot, and that's what keep me close to you guys and on these platforms. I realize now that going to the World Cup is not just a team effort or a federation effort. It's a country effort. You understand? It's a country effort. That's what I realize. And if it's not a country effort, it won't happen. Everyone have to come on board. And I saw that even in the Canada and USA game. Everyone was playing their part. The fans, the ball boy, the government, everyone was playing their part.
I can give a little example. And when she asked if I was disappointed that we are not, I tell you, and I said, boy, no. I went to school in the States, 94, and I came back 96. I live 10 minutes away from the stadium. I live at a place called Nannyville. For me, and I say it anywhere I go, the biggest baller was my friend, and still is, Walter Blacker Pearl. You understand? And when I came back, the first match I watched was Jamaica playing Trinidad. I don't remember if it was a practice or a qualifier. And when I went and see the energy and the camaraderie and the whole synergy, it's like me, I say, yeah. When we are playing US at the National Stadium, you know, it's about Karoo, me over there. Me outside, I sell flyers with my ball. I kick one ball. I sell flyers with him on it. It's when the game, the last 20 minutes, me and my friend say, we have to go see what ball I know. And wrap up flyers where we left. Don't make a quota where we need to make. And we go in. Everybody, the energy, the vibes. Hey, you know when a team is together, is when the coach, we can't forget this, the coach come out with that statement. You know what he want for the team for this game? He want from in the morning. From in the morning, you know, Rene Simona tell people for turn on them light. In a car where sun a shine, where you now go see no light. That is all connected. He make himself become with the people. And you blow your hand consistently. And you ask anybody in that period, turn on your light. Just to bring that energy, that vibes, that joy, that coming together and that belonging. You know, so we reach to World Cup. A ball can't for Burton back and go in a goal. If you remember the goal they score, it just out of nothing. Ian Pepper's Goodison supposed to come out for the field. And he must say, Rene, just give me a minute. Me have that one I feel. Corner come. Him flick it on from the corner. Goal, win. So you have to have that togetherness. You notice how the goal and score and we? It does show you, yeah, it give a little sweet mouth. We up one love. But we can't hold it because no love no there. No love no there for fight little more. You have to have love. In everything you do, if you don't have love, leave it alone. You have to have that love there. So ask me in a year time if you have a chance to qualify for World Cup, I'm going to tell you no again. So I have to wait for see something. I have to see some little things. Before I leave, this is the last thing I want to say. You see, any coach and decide to bring to be the national coach, I want him can come coach football. Come coach football. You understand? And coaching football means no matter who you is and what the player is, you gotta get them to play for Jamaica. You understand? I don't believe if you have a pro or a D or a C or a B, because if I was to assess these 4 games that play under my coach Paul, I have a lot to learn. You understand? But even with the previous coach. So I need a coach that understands the fundamentals and the culture is important. You understand? So, Tallawah, nice meeting you. Your friend, nice meeting you, but we have a lot of work. And as I said to you before, and I text you, if you have a youngster playing the game, if he's good enough can do the schoolwork, encourage him to go to school, try to go to college. MLS is the way out. And then you take it from there. You name get out, not laying down. Get out. You go there, you tell yourself, it's a building block. You have to get out because my mother and father, my family need the help of my community. Get out, go to school, get an education, do your football and so forth. If you're not good enough to do that part, and you can take the combines and you can deal with it good, like Peter Lever said, he get that chance and then he got LA and then he don't want to work hard. You have to work hard. RUN. If you don't plan for running at the modern game, go and try swimming. You don't have to run in that. You have to run. So people like Tyreek McGee, when he was here playing and them laud him as the king, Manning Cup and him do so well, but nobody ever sit him down and say, hey, you have to can run. It's not him, if you go and check where him at and them talk about him skill ability, him have that, but him don't work hard enough. So the youngster them out here listen to me. If you not plan for run, try swimming. Simple. Nice meeting, no. Good night.
Coach, it was an absolute pleasure. Finally, after almost a year, it's an absolute pleasure to share the same platform with you.
Sometimes my work, not my work, the time situation, but as I say, I take note and I say to you, one of the beauty about the whole program, them, I like all of them, and I don't have a preference to which one. And I tell you this, if you can ask Ryan, it's about a year I am on Ryan program.
Yeah.
And that is a youngster that I coach. And it's when we play Japan under 23, me him say, when me the Excel say I'm Mr. Aleman and Karumi. So me take up the phone now and look. And me say, even then, me have to text him and say, oh, you know Mr. Aleman and Karumi. Because I used to go Excel say. So me text and say, you know, so me this. And then I call him the next day and say, you know, honestly, Ryan, you're going to feel shame on me. You know, so it's 1 year I'm on your program and I don't even realize that is you. That is how much interested I'm in with the program and not with the person. So I like all of them, the coaches that Max, Tallawah, it keep me together.
Yeah.
So keep doing what you're doing and don't stop, no matter what. Keep doing
it. I appreciate it.
All right, and ESPN alone will have Tallawah and the other one them up to.
Right? Absolutely. The platform is big enough for everyone, so I definitely echo that last comment there from you. And I hope you have a safe travel home, and I hope your grandma's in great health. And I definitely hope that you have a splendid weekend as well.
Yeah, man, same to you. And obviously we are Arsenal supporter, but something missing. We are not invincible more. We are the bad boys of football in England, you know. When you go in the changing room and you stand up beside Arsenal team, you wet your pants before you even go on the field. Yeah, man, because when you see Ray Parler and Patrick Vieira and Emmanuel Petit and you look on them tires, you say, Jesus Christ, and so much time have alone, you lose already. No, there's only babies playing for me, but me at my club still until maybe one day things can turn around. And my coach, when me have, I think him kind of personal. If the player have a lot of egos, him don't want to deal with them. Him like babies. So me have a baby team. Me have a big club with baby personalities now.
Sound like a nursery. Sound like you have a nursery.
Yeah, me have a nursery. You understand? Think about it. We have FA Cup weekend this week and we are not in it. And the last round, we are not in Euro, you know. We are not in conference, you know. We are not in Champion League, you know. And we send out a seaside. So me for rate Arteta. That's a different thing. You know, we are talking about Jamaica. So good night.
Before you shoot, Karumi, here's a question for you, and I'll get Kimo to chime in as well in a second. Here's a question for you from King Jav. I know he framed it to myself. Question: Mattocks, ? Or Gray, East, or Shamar? Which two are the best?
You want me to start?
Yes.
One other thing I hate comparing players, but personality, Gray, back to goal, powerful, strong, keep give you supporting play. So him having personality. Shamar, not good with him back to goal, good at coming to goal.
Good positional awareness as well.
East, my issue with East is I don't see him as a center forward. I more see him as a flank player. So, in respective of, so even Mattocks, I must answer Mattocks.
Yeah, he said. By the way, he's framed this question. It looks as if it's a complete dismissal here for Mattocks, based on the question marks next to Mattocks' name. So yeah, he's saying which two are the best? Mattocks, Gray, East, or Shamar?
Put it this way. I can play Gray with Shamar. I can play Gray with Mattocks. I can play Gray with East. I can play with East with Shamar somewhat. I can play East with... It's all the difference. So I can do things with Gray with Shamar, Gray with Mattocks, Gray with East. So Gray stand out, Shamar stand out, and me need Mattocks. So East me if I go play like a winger. So Enjoy the rest of the
Which
night.
two would you go for if you
I
was
will go with
to
Shamar and Gray because me have tall and short. And if you
complement each other, right?
notice how the game playing back now, they are playing
Yeah.
more with two centre forward. That's why I'm saying for us to get a national coach have to know what is happening out there.
Yeah.
Presently, not wait. Hey, it's if you want to play this particular way, but the personnel that you have cannot deal with that, you have to put away that way, and put this way, until you can get those person to fit that way. So the next national coach, for example, Ethan Pinnock, you play him in a back two, him is a liability. You notice when him look yesterday when he play him in a back three, we are more stronger going forward. So we need to study the personnel and put them in the position that they play. You understand? And then we are trying to chop and change and try to fix some players here and fix some players there. You only do that one time, not all the while. So the gentleman and wait and him blow steam in him ears out there. So enjoy the rest of the night.
Take care, Karumi. Thank you again.
All right, bless up. More life.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, like I would say the same thing that the coach Karumi said about the players. Great compliments, good compliment a Shamar and a Mattocks. I still don't see enough of East.
Yeah.
So I can't really say, but I know what Shamar brings to the table. I know what Mattocks brings to the table. I thought he deserved a chance in this campaign with his experience and what he has done, regardless of him not being out there consistently playing, but because of what he done already, maybe you never know, he could get a burst of confidence playing in the national team because he already has the goals to show. So maybe it would be easier for him than a person that is trying to make his name like a East.
Yeah, because East at present, he's had countless opportunities of recent, when you look at the recent competitions.
I mean, I won't bash the player, but he has gotten the most I'm not saying opportunity. He's present in the squad. He's one of the players that hasn't missed out on selection on many occasions from Gold Cup till now. So I'm not sure, and I know that he has a lot to improve with his game as well. So, yeah.
So interesting question. That I like that question there from King Jab. It's a difficult one, a difficult question. I think definitely I'm going with Boza on that one. But if you're looking at experience, I think it's possibly why the possibility as to why, or the reason as to why Mattocks hasn't been included recently is to do with off the field conversations, right, as opposed to what you can do on it. And I think that's the reason why we've not seen Darren Mattocks. I think possibly if off the field it was a little bit more silence and there was less controversy surrounding his name, then perhaps you would see a Darren Mattocks. But I think that's the reason why it's silence on
well, the interactions for me, I think I'm not sure, because things can happen and we don't know about it. Or things can be ongoing and we don't know about it.
Exactly. It's just it's because of the lack of transparency, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because the thing is, I've seen, because of the performances lately, because remember we were 4 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
And because of the performance, lately, we have seen more communication over social media by him. You can see that he takes it personally.
The care
and he
is there.
thought that the care is there, the passion is there, but everyone express themselves differently. Everyone has their own opinion of things, and he thought that he would do a better job. And I think he could do a better job. I'm not talking for anyone else who was in the team.
Kimo, Again, King Jab, I love your question. Absolutely love your question. And yeah, personally, you threw a complete spanner in the work there. Had me scratching my head. No disrespect to East, but I will take East out the equation, and then I'll be left scratching my head because I'm stuck between Mattocks, Gray, and Boza. Like I said, I think Boza definitely gets a pick for me for what he's done at club level and also international level as well for this current campaign. So that's who I'm going with. Massive shout out to Owen as well. I haven't seen you around here, Owen. So big up yourself, and I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you have a splendid weekend when it comes. Go on.
I think the goal scoring ratio for I know that Shamar has a lot to learn and a lot more things to improve on with his game. But I think after a spell, hopefully get a chance to prove himself in Spartak, in Russia with the weather condition and everything, he can develop a lot more and learn a lot more stuff, and can bring that to the national team. Also, secondly, East, if anyone I would take out of the team and put in a Mattocks, it would be a East. You understand?
It's a dead giveaway, isn't it? And it's not a case of, it's not a case of yourself or King Jab or me for that matter trying to make East out to be the scapegoat. But like you said, you can't argue with facts. Factually speaking, he would be the obvious choice to take out the squad.
Because look at Mikel. Mikel played 6 matches for the Reggae Boys and he has 3 goals. And his 3 goals have yet to come by a set play or by a build-up or a true pass from one of our central attacking midfielders or one of our wingers. Yet to see that. And if we was playing like a team, Mikel could have maybe had even an hat-trick in these 6 games that he has represented Jamaica,
Yeah.
But I spoke to him. I spoke to him when? That's the same night I saw you at the hotel.
I was just gonna say it. You're talking about Mattocks, right?
No, I'm talking about Mikel.
Mikel, because Mattocks was there. Mattocks was at the hotel that
night. He was there. He was there at the hotel.
It goes to show, a lot of people might not know this. I'm so glad that you reminded me that Mattocks was actually at the hotel, guys. And I'm assuming that he definitely would have seen the game against USA back in November. Yeah. Myself and Kimo were there, and we saw Mattocks going to meet the guys. So he definitely cares about the team and want to see the team.
He was there. Mattocks was there. Yeah, and even long before I said to Mikel, because he was booking the ticket, that £100,000 ticket, that private jet ticket. I was speaking to Grant first.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that he wanted to play for Jamaica years ago. It's not just now. And whenever he get the chance, he's gonna come and he's gonna represent. I was talking to Ravel, but Ravel was, all over the place playing around, But
he's a calm person, Ravel. If nobody's had the chance to meet him, he's calm.
Yeah. If you let what you hear in the media get to you, think like, oh, Ravel is,
Exactly.
But he was full of energy all around, laughing, smiling with everyone, taking pictures, talking. So it was very interactive. It was very interactive. Because that I know that makes you wonder if everything that people put out in the media is actually true.
That's an excellent point. I think we have to be careful, and you're intelligent to know, the guys in the comment section are intelligent enough to know that there is a certain use of language that's used when it comes to black players, and black players from certain demographics as well. So the likes of your Paul Pogba, the likes of your Ravel Morrison, automatically people try to frame them out to be the disruptive one. That could happen for any given player. Any player Harry Kane could be deemed as a disruption with what's happened in the summer regarding his transfer to go to Manchester City. But the media didn't paint him as a disruption. They painted him as the angel. Yeah. With him, can you imagine if Paul Pogba says to Manchester United he's not showing up for training because he wants to leave? Paul Pogba probably have to move house.
Yeah.
So I love that point that you've raised, and I'm going to take a quick breather there, Kimo. I don't want to keep this gentleman waiting in the in the
Yeah, the
back.
comment
I'm
section.
gonna go on and bring on
Oh,
Richard
you have
for you.
someone else. Okay.
Yeah, but please don't go anywhere. I do want to keep the both of you on air
Oh,
with
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. It's been a while. Richard wanted me to
Richard, how are you?
be here.
I'm well, I'm well. Greetings, Crystal and Chemo. Can you hear me, big man?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sir Richard.
How you doing?
Sir
I'm
Rich.
good.
Richard, why you look so rich tonight? You win the
Yeah.
lotto.
Oh
Cool. He
yes.
looks cool.
You cool down. Look cool and
Yeah.
crisp.
Give thanks, give thanks. Nice to see you too. Yeah. It's nice to see you too. I thought I'd jump in and add my two penneth and listen to
Mm-hmm.
what you guys make of Jamaica's campaign. I admit to being maybe a little bit wet behind the ears, Crystal Chemo. I jumped on board post the Three Lions debacle and during the Jamaica's campaign in the Gold Cup. And I was really excited at the introduction of the English players, adding to the English based players, Jamaicans, adding to the mix of the Jamaican team. What's subsequently come to pass is the organizational deficiencies of the JFF. But I'm trying to find out, and I'd like to ask you, which one do you think is the more decisive reason for Jamaica's failed campaign? Do you think it's the lack of impact of the English-based Jamaican players not bringing that necessary quality to overwhelm and tackle the likes of Panama, Canada, El Salvador, or do you think it's the shortcomings of the JFF and the organizational aspect of Jamaica? Going forward, what do you make of it? Reflections.
I think, long story short, because it kind of feels as if we might be very repetitive here in terms of our view on answering your question. I think it's a case of us just failing to plan. And when you fail to plan, it's inevitable that you're not going to succeed, are you? There's no way you can put a plan together and fail. And if you are going to fail, you're going to go down fighting. You're going to look like warriors. People are going to automatically give you that respect because at least they will sit back and say, you know what, we might have lost, but at least we lost with pride. At least we tried. At least there was something there. There was nothing there from the start. Like I said to you before, it's almost as if we're trying to lay down the bricks, but the foundation in which we're trying to lay down the bricks on is quicksand. How are you going to build a foundation on quicksand? What do you expect to gain out of that? So that is my view on the whole situation. And I'm not one to point fingers. I'm not going to look at the coach, be it Tapper. Tapper is no longer here no more. So no disrespect to Tapper. Tapper is no longer my concern. I'm not even going to look at the interim head coach, Paul Hall, because my God, he needed to work a miracle. The only one that could work a miracle better than Paul Hall would be Jesus himself, because it was literally mission impossible that Paul Hall was tasked with. One thing I will credit Paul Hall for is bringing transparency to the senior setup. Love Paul Hall for that. And Paul Hall has been giving us sincere transparency from the moment he walked through the door. The
Yeah.
first ever press conference, I sat there and I'm just like, he's so open. And you know that it was sincere because when Paul Hall answered the questions in the first press conference, he said, "Did I answer your question?" Now, if you're not sincere, you don't care if you've answered that question or not. Your next attempt is, let me move on to the next question. Paul Hall said, "Did I
Mm-hmm.
answer the question?" So that means if there was not clarity, if there wasn't clarity with my initial response, I
Yeah.
will provide that clarity. And I
Yeah.
love and I respect that. So I'm not going to look at not even the 12th man, because with the 12th man, the downside of the 12th man is it's difficult to critique the way we behave as a collective because a lot of the criticism is purely based off emotions. And I can associate those similar types of emotions when I'm talking about my club being Arsenal, and all the stress and frustrations that they put me through. So when I see people in the 12th man camp for the national side, I'm like, I've been there. It sucks to be in your position because you're in a chokehold. because this isn't like your club. Your club, you can't get away from your club because you're in a long-term relationship where divorce isn't an option. You can't get away from your country because your country is your country. That's where you belong. So it's just like it's stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm not going to blame the 12th man. I'm not going to blame the coach. The players, you can say the players can take accountability, but most importantly, the bulk of the blame definitely starts with the boys at the top. Collectively, make no mistake about it, we could have done better collectively. So that's when you link Paul Hall, you link Tapper, you link the players, and you also link us, the 12th man. I think we could have done a better job. But definitely, JFF trying to build a foundation of quicksand on quicksand. Do they think that we're idiots? Clearly, they do think that we're idiots. I think one thing JFF does is they underestimate the passion that the 12th man has for football. They probably think that there's passion there for cricket and track and field, but perhaps not so much for football. And I can only give credit and thank the geniuses who came up with social media. Because with social media, they're going to see that in actual reality, social media is an example of the real world. And now they're going to be seeing something that they've never experienced before. So good luck to them.
A great answer, Crystal. I've got a comeback question or point for you regarding those foundations. I'm trying to use the two ears and get as much information on the situation before speaking. I think sometimes we can speak without the required knowledge and maybe a little bit too much passion. But a great answer, Crystal. Chemo, what say you? The JFF or the players, or as Crystal alluded to, the coaching staff. Where does the bulk of the areas for further improvement lay? And has anything surprised you during this campaign, Chemo? Because you've been closer to the fortunes of the Jamaican national team than myself. Go ahead and speak, sir.
Well, based on how everything turned out for me, I think the players in the end or in the latter part of the campaign understood what was needed. You understand? And this is and playing for your club is a total different thing than playing for your country. Playing for your club, you're seeing these players maybe for a longer period than seeing them for your country. You understand? So I think a little bit more togetherness was what needed for this campaign, and the players to be playing together. Or we have a bunch of players or a 30-man squad when it is summoned. You have maybe one or two players that were missing. The players didn't get enough time to know themselves, not just on the field, but off the field. You understand? So that's one of the main issues that affected us in this campaign, other than the other persons like the government, private sectors, and everyone jumping on board to make the dream come true, make everything happen. I mean, coach problem in the early part, but what I have confidence in Paul Hall, because as Crystal said, the transparency is there from the get-go, from he got the helm. Yes, and also I think I'm starting to pay more attention now to the Premier League out here, with one and two, a couple young players coming through, because more young players that are 16, 17, 18 years old are now playing in the National League and getting up. I'm seeing they're getting opportunities. Some of them in the USL and some also in Europe, and it's good. And I think one of the main reasons for that is you guys on these platforms, us as panelists, when we come up with information and what we know, because all of us have different information and of players, and we do our own research. So we come out and share this, and people from all over the world, agents will be watching these programs and be learning about Jamaican players. And it's good. And I think these platforms will set the pace for 2026. So I wouldn't advise any of these persons, knowing that the campaign is out of our hands, and give up. We must continue, because we also have a part to play, doing the hard work. You understand? And I bet you when the Nations League comes around, when we can have fans back in the stadium, and when the Gold Cup starts, and even the next World Cup campaign, you'll see a lot more fans, cheering on the boys with passion, because in the comment section, you'll find a lot of young persons here, you know, being attentive to all of the information and these videos being posted. So that's when you actually know. I don't think the last campaign for 2018 campaign, you have so many persons doing videos about the Reggae Boys and the Reggae Boys prospects. The only person maybe you could say was doing that was Simon, and it's good to know that other persons are putting in the work. Everyone is doing the work to for develop. It's like nation building. And you guys are doing, yeah. So for me, the campaign is out. It's what we're gonna do now, and what have we learned from this campaign? You understand? Because we have the talent. And I check, and I was doing my research on some of these teams like the Costa Rica. Because we know that Costa Rica is using one of the most, I'm saying, old players, has the most old players and experienced players. But in their reserves, I'm seeing some 16 and some 17-year-old, 18 and 19-year-old. So you look out for them, maybe in the Nations League as well this time around, the Gold Cup, and also the World Cup competing, the World Cup qualifiers competing against us, because we have them to deal with next time when the USA, Canada, and Mexico will be getting free spots for the 2026 World Cup. So we still have a Honduras to look forward to, Costa Rica and Panama. You understand? And everyone is building something right now, to be honest.
I like where you're coming from, Chemo. Crystal, Chemo, please remind those out there listening to the Reasoning Boss and listening to Crystal, most eloquent of presenters, to hit the like button. We need to share and increase the visibility of Tallawah TV. There's loyal watchers and viewers.
You're far too kind, Richard.
No problem at all, Crystal. I'm just telling it as I see it from London, England, and you are representing as to his Chemo. I love these reasoning sections, and I'd like to shout out to Captain Webster of the IMAXit family.
Mr. Warren.
Big time salute every time, and Pagan 180 and all the viewers and subscribers. Hit that like, thumbs up button. Crystal, I've got two questions for your good selves and Chemo, as well as the viewers and subscribers out there. Paul Hall, I think everybody, bar none, has been impressed and recognizes his forthrightness, his openness, his honesty, and his qualities in terms of communication. To what extent can we say then, in Paul Hall, we trust? In Paul Hall, we trust. If he does have these plus points, welcome points, in terms of being open and honest, he has his coaching license. The flip side, the real deal side, is that he has played 4 or so games and he has lost 4 or so games. His substitutions have come in for criticism. That criticism has eased somewhat, but I would not be too surprised if these kind of minus points, for want of a better word, raise their heads. So with all being said, let's focus on Mr. Hall for this question. To what extent can we say in Paul Hall do we trust? And I'll give you the other context around this question, which is we're all football aficionados. We've all got an opinion out there. And with the increase of social media, I've already picked up on the likes of I Am Sure Sports and IMAX, will be coming with something. Coaches Desk will be coming with something military. They'll all be coming with lists of players that should be brought into the fold, should be kept an eye on. And Paul Hall, at the end of the day, along with his coaching staff, will be making the decisions. So how is he going to be able to deal with the plethora, the deluge of opinions on who to pick? We've already had it here, Crystal. Mattocks or Boza. Can we trust Paul Hall? I am fronting up and I'm putting my trust in Paul Hall to do what he feels is best. But does he have the shoulders to deal with this situation going forward? Crystal and Chemo, speak.
Chemo, do you want to go first with that one?
I think you can go first.
you,
Ladies
you
before
need more time to
gentlemen.
think, do you? That was
Yeah,
a
ladies
mouthful.
before gentlemen.
There was
Yeah.
that was a
Silly. That
mouthful
was,
there.
yeah.
That was a mouthful there, Richard. But to break it all down, I think if we're all, because it's a little bit of backtracking, and again, this is why I said conversation as such feels as if it's very repetitive. I think if we're all saying that we're praising Paul Hall for his transparency, we can't necessarily turn around and beat him with the same stick. Because again, if we look back on all of Paul Hall's press conferences, and that's what I am judging him off. I'm not just judging him off what we've seen on the field of play, because it goes hand in hand, or just about everything that we've meant that Paul Hall has mentioned in his press conference. You can see it on show in his press conference coming into the all important games for the current World Cup qualifiers. So before we played off against Mexico, Panama, and Costa Rica to end it all, he touched on pressure. He spoke about that there is pressure, but he was also realistic. He says that pressure is healthy. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's great. He also touched on the mindset. With the mindset, he touched on accountability. He also touched on the fact that within the camp, there will be anxiousness. And again, anxiousness is positive, because if the players are anxious, then that simply means that they care. It simply means that they want to give a fantastic account of themselves. So you can clearly see there that Paul Hall is trying to galvanize the nation, because with Paul Hall, he doesn't just focus on one set thing. And that's great, because it clearly shows that he wants to try and, what's the word I'm trying to search for, multitask, because he knows that essentially the one thing that everyone cares about here is results shown on the field of play. But he's also touched on stuff that's also important as a unit, as in Jamaica as a whole. He's saying that, he's touched on women's football, the need to grow women's football. How many male coaches have come and represented Jamaica who have sincerely cared about their female counterparts? I can't think of any, but Paul Hall has clearly mentioned the Reggae Girlz. So clearly, whatever plan Paul Hall has in mind, not only does he want it to benefit the boys, starting from grassroots, but he also wants it to benefit the women counterparts. But before we can talk about success, and this is why I said we have to get a grip of ourselves and be realistic and look at what we're cooking with here, and understand that, yes, you can say you are Team Paul Hall, but don't turn your back on him when it gets rocky. But before it gets smooth, we're going to be faced with bitter disappointments time after time after time. And if you want to see the true quality of Paul Hall, you have to give him time. And Paul Hall said it himself in his press conference that he is inexperienced. He said, yeah, I am inexperienced, but you need time. All great managers need time. No world-class managers started off their career and boom, they just started winning things. They all need time. Paul Hall is no different. So I think it's all well and good saying that we praise him for transparency, but we cannot then turn around and beat him with the same stick and say, well, if you look at your first 4 games, one being a friendly and the other 3 being World Cup qualifiers, you've not gotten the results that you should have gotten. Really? He was supposed to go out there and won all 3 of those games? That would have been unimaginable. He would have actually done greater than possibly everyone would have expected.
Mute your mic, Kimo.
He would have
Mute your mic, Kimo.
massively overachieved. And I think if he did overachieve, then the huge the painful downside to that is that Paul Hall has done the unthinkable. And because Paul Hall has done the unthinkable, he has automatically papered over the cracks. And then that in itself brings its own disadvantage. So there's plenty there to dissect where Paul Hall is concerned. But if we're going to bring him on board, then there's a huge emphasis for patience. And I cannot echo that well enough, that you have to be patient with Paul Hall if you're saying that you want him to be in the driving seat on a permanent basis.
I'm glad you've wrapped it up right on that point, that key word, patience. Well handled, Crystal. I love that. And I'm willing to give Paul Hall a lot of patience, as you seemingly are. And I think that needs to go out there into the vlogosphere and into the Jamaican fans.
I think it's
Ears.
obvious, to be honest with you. It depends on the mindset that you have. It's completely obvious. Like you decided to come on board and support the Reggae Boys for your own personal reasons. So maybe for yourself, and perhaps that's the reason why you ask quite a lot of questions, is because you're still quite new to the setup, to the environment. But I think if you've been here for X a number of years, be it decades, 5 years or so, then it's nothing that you've seen before. I think one way of looking at the current Jamaican setup, where the coach is concerned, where the JFF is concerned, is to relate it back to your club team being Arsenal, and looking at how it's run and looking at the need for patience. Do you want Jamaica to be the Watford of football at international level? Perhaps that's a question that I should ask you, Richard.
Well, that's a really interesting point you've made there, Crystal. I love coming on this show. I tell you, I'm new to the Reggae Boys, but I'm also new to Tallawah TV. But I tell you, I like the seasoning. I like the seasoning and the reasoning found here. Maybe because I remember when you referred to the constant rinse, cycle, and repeat feeling of following Jamaican national team fortunes under the auspices of the JFF. So your experience and feelings towards watching Jamaica may well be different from mine. I think I still got a level of optimism, but it has been seriously dampened by what I've seen over the space of 6 or 7 months. So when you mention Watford, well, do I want Jamaica to be a Watford instead of an Arsenal or a Man United or the Man Cities, the Chelseas, the Liverpool? There's a difference in terms of quality, in terms of the organizational procedures and what they want, the drive that's and professionalism that those kind of clubs, of course. Quality is the other thing that comes to mind, and quality is something that we're going to be no doubt looking into, because as far as I can see right now, and here's where I dovetail before we hear from Good Chemo, this is where I dovetail into this Jamaican campaign. What I've picked up is that the Jamaican national team, if it wants to box and hold its own against the likes of Canada, Mexico, and then we're going to look at El Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica, and fast upcoming teams such as Suriname and Curacao. Quality in a results-orientated business is where we need to be at. So if we're going to be talking about developing young talent, if we're going to be looking at calling in the more experienced players, what we've seen from this campaign is that you can be relatively close, but it's going to be a case of no cigar. Jamaica, when they've had 20 and 30+% possession, while losing by the odd goal in a game, what we've seen, that quality with a capital Q, is what will be the key dividing point. As Captain Stan Kroenke always alludes to, quality with a capital Q. But that is what I'll be looking out for. Whoever is called up by Paul Hall, they will need to hit the ground running. They need to have the mindset and the hunger and desire that comes from a united team with a united philosophy and desire to match and exceed their own expectations. And Costa Rica, El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico. I watched that Canada team, and I tell you what, they are fighting for each other. I don't know many of them personally. Professionally, I don't see them playing their trade in the Premier League teams in England. But I can tell you something: the record speaks for itself. They're going to be possibly going throughout this octagonal unbeaten. That needs to be applauded. My question to you guys, after we hear from Chemo, is to what extent has Jamaica failed or not taken an interest in our rivals? This is where I need to listen and get more information. To what extent has Jamaica, as a nation, a footballing nation, failed to learn lessons and take what other teams are doing in this region seriously at a number of levels? Because I'm highly impressed with what Canada have done. Mexico, despite not having a vintage team, they're looking to head to Qatar. El Salvador, fighters. Panama, fighters. Costa Rica came and nabbed a 1-0 at the office, despite Jamaica playing one of their best games. We need to be able to take lessons. Over the years, Crystal, how often and how seriously have Jamaica taken our rivals and sought to learn lessons? I'm talking about the fans as well as the JFF. But I'd like to hear from Chemo and get his thoughts on Paul Hall. I don't think you got the chance to answer. In Paul Hall, we trust. To what extent can Paul Hall handle the pressure and expectation? And do you trust that he will do what he needs to do rather than listening to the points of views which will be flying from left, right, and center as to who he should be selecting, who he could select? Speak.
I think you're on mute there, Chemo.
He's been
Well,
learning
basically, well, basically for me, with Paula, there's transparency. The previous coach, I did not know what he's doing, but with Paula, there's transparency, and also we were very patient with the previous coach. He got a lot of time with the team, and knowing that Paula only had 3 games with this team, and we could see transparency. I just think that we should give him the time. All I think, we should give him the time. And it only makes me wonder and say to myself, what if the same time that the previous coach got, if Paul had the team for that amount of years, what would the outcome be for this campaign? Maybe it would be in a playoff position. Maybe it would be at 4th, fighting to compete for that 3rd spot, or maybe we'd be at 5th, fighting for that 4th spot. So you never can tell. But as I said, I have confidence in him until he proves me wrong. You understand? And I see transparency, and I see a lot of things, and he has a lot of attributes that I think a coach should have. Understand? And there's so much things to compare and put him in a class by himself to the previous coach. So I just want us as fans, you understand, the JFF, and to just give him the time. Give him the time. He's going to need time. I remember when I was watching or seeing the results from the Canada team when they were in the qualifying stage or the playoff stage for the Gold Cup, also for the Nations League. I was saying when they were unbeaten and they were scoring a lot of goals against the Aruba and those teams, I was like, they're not really playing anyone. But the positive from that, was that they were playing with each other for the most part of it and building their own thing, and they carried that on into a little bit of it into the Gold Cup, and they use it to build for the World Cup qualifying campaign. And look at them now on top, unbeaten. And from here, it only can get better for them, because each time they go out and get a good performance against quality teams or against a team, their confidence is high, and they find other ways, means and ways to do their research and to become a stronger unit. So we have to just take a page out of their book and what Canada is doing and what USA did, because remember one time with the USA, you will have a plethora of players playing in the MLS. Now we have USA, for the USA players, you have players playing in Europe, players playing for Juventus, Barcelona, playing in the top flight in Europe every single year, and that's when you know that persons was digging deep and trying to improve on marketing and getting better agents for the players, you know, and you can see the work that they have done, and that work didn't start today or 2 days ago. Everything was done by planning for the future, and that's what we should do. We should look towards the future. So instead we were trying to build a team, and then we're going to look for the UK based Jamaican players for us to win us games and, you know, to strengthen the team. We now saw that that can't really help the situation at hand. We should start building from the younger talents that we have here in Jamaica, and also look for, instead of getting those English Jamaican based players in England, um, Jamaican players in England at the age of 28, 27, 29, 30, we should get them now at 16, 17, trying to convince them, let them know about their heritage back home. You give them a chance now, if they can look into themselves and say, well, okay, the Jamaican team isn't bad after all, because you have guys like Ethan Pino that is playing in the Premier League, and guys like Mikel Antonio and Bobby Reed and Andre Gray, so on, etc., that has represented Jamaica. So we have good crop of players that has left a legacy there. So you need younger English-based players with Jamaican heritage, with the younger ones to play together and build, the likes of the Keto Taylor Hart, the Reese Williams, the Omari Hutchinsons, you know, and the other players. You understand? So you need them to be growing and playing together. You know, maybe Paul Hall, you know, these teams, the US team, sometimes, even when it's not a FIFA window, you find out that they are playing friendlies. You know, they are playing friendlies. So if we can have these young players like a Tyree McGee and a Lamar Walker and a Deshaun Beckford, with also a Peter Lee Vassell, playing with the likes of these young players like the Zimenez and, you know, the Okwasa Chang with Omari Hutchinsons, you know, see how much you can convince Omari Hutchinson that we should let them play together, and Kilo Taylor Hart, give them a call because they're interested. Give them a call and mix them and see if you can get a couple of friendlies and let them play together. Let them get acquainted with each other from a young age. Maybe I think by 2026 we'll actually have players, that young players, because they're easily, they take the information easy, because one of the main points that we're trying to teach big man things at a certain age, and they might not execute and carry out the task as well, while these young players willing to listen. You understand? And they are hungrier. So we have, those are some of the points that we should look on going forward. I don't know what you guys think about that.
You've raised some really interesting points there, Chemo, especially towards the end when you were putting things together there. And I think that's really interesting. Crystal, is anything...
Before we
go ahead.
continue there, sorry to interject. This one is actually for you, Richard, because I think you're fairly seasoned or well seasoned now in terms of your knowledge and understanding of the Reggae Boys. So in terms of the national setup, you can include the grassroots if you wish, as a collective, as a unit moving forward. How does Jamaica maximize its potential? Because you've touched on how Jamaica sees itself, or whether Jamaica should be performing better against the bigger countries, the superior countries, that being the Mexico, the USA, and the Canada. But how does Jamaica maximize its potential for you to truly put Jamaica in the same bracket as those countries that I've mentioned?
Well, that's a great point, Crystal. And I'm going to pointedly feedback and answer that question by pointing to some of the feedback that I was seeing in the comments below from the gentleman or female, whoever that person is, who was alluding and drawing our attention to the quality that Canada currently has. The Larins, I did not know Larin was a treble winner with Besiktas in Turkey. Davids is a Jonathan David is a baller that I've just been paying attention to a little closer recently. Quality player, gaining traction and interest from big teams. Canada have the requisite quality, unity, humility, and willingness to work hard. The key word, though, is quality. So where Jamaica is concerned, Crystal, whoever has the mindset, the ability, as Kimo said, the willingness to listen, take in ideas as to what the coach wants from his team, I think those are the players that we need to be on board and part of Paul Hall's squad. What I'm about to say, I don't think it's controversial, but I think that it's something that is important to answer your question. There's a school of thought that says that locally developed players from Jamaica need to be part of the Jamaican national squad, senior squad going forward. And that can include youthful talents that's come from schoolboy football, then matriculated into the JPL League, may then ply their trade with the USL teams or MSL teams. But those locally developed players need to be part of the system and part of Paul Hall's squad, mixed with the Jamaicans who are plying their trade in the likes of the Premier League and Championship. To my mind, looking at what I've seen from the Canadian national team, the Mexican team, the Panamanian team, what I've seen is quality and playing at a certain level. Remember, the CONCACAF, I don't compare it to the CONMEBOL or the European, leagues. It's inferior. The cream of the crop is what we're seeing with Canada and Mexico, and maybe Panama, United States. Those are the big three. But they're going to struggle come Qatar. If they come out of the group stages, that would be something. What we've seen is that Jamaica, as it stands, needs to be able to compete with our rivals. That calls for quality to compete. When I saw the goal that Jamaica conceded to Costa Rica, when I actually saw that goal, Andre Blake saves a penalty. The ball's gone out. Jamaica have dominated this game. That gentleman in the midfield for Costa Rica, he had time to sit, make a cup of tea or coffee, look up, survey the scene, and pick a pass into the heart of the Jamaican penalty area. Joel Campbell showed outstanding skill, coolness, and calmness to cut inside Mr. Lee and Mr. Pinnock to hammer home a left-footed strike past the flailing Andre Blake. That showed to me a level of not quite inexperience, but switching off, the hunger that Kimo was referring to, the drive, the being able to, understand what's at stake. That was not there. Those are snooze and lose situations, and to me, that showed that Jamaica has a long way to go. And there was numerous examples in El Salvador. 1-0 up, dying embers of the game, and we allow an equalizer to be scored. Numerous examples where Jamaica have come up short. They've only been beaten, I think, by a 2-goal margin on only 2 occasions during this campaign. I think the 3-1 loss against Mexico, again, leading 1-0. That's a game that, with good man management, you should be able to see through. If you need to fall down, take a free kick, chop and slow the game down, stop and start the game. You should be able to lock down games like that. That calls for quality, Crystal, in my mind. Quality. Wherever it's needed, and wherever it resides, that quality should be called upon. Now, that means that, with the greatest of respect, just because someone is playing their trade in Jamaica and has been outstanding at Manning's Cup or the Costa Cup schoolboys football level, maybe doing quite well and seems a prospect in the JPL, that does not mean automatically Paul Hall has to call them up. What I want to see is the likes of a Richard King called up, and as we've seen, he's a gem of a footballer. He's got the hunger and the talent, but that needs to be nurtured, and it needs to be existing at a level that Paul Hall knows can actually get the job done against the likes of our rivals that we've seen with Canada, America, who are not a vintage team. So, you know, I want to see quality out on the pitch for Jamaica, and that's what I'm looking for. I think by a way forward, Paul Hall hopefully will recognize what's required and not pander to the needs and calling of certain parties who have vested interests in calling up players who are looking to earn a money and to make a living and get a lucrative quote unquote contract elsewhere, if they're not actually good enough quality wise.
So aside from quality, looking ahead to the Gold Cup, the Nations League, and subsequently the run-up or the preparation to the next World Cup, not this World Cup coming up in Qatar, the following World Cup. Again, just for clarity, how does Jamaica maximize its potential to a point where we can truthfully and sincerely put our names in the rightful bracket or the rightful sentence as the likes of Canada, Mexico, and also the United States as well? Mexico are probably arguably the worst they've ever been in the history of their football, and we're still unable to capitalize on them. And this is supposed to be the best squad that Jamaica's ever had, with the consideration of the World Cup 1998 squad. So again, how does Jamaica maximize its potential?
Well,
I think.
is that for Chemo?
It's for both of you. You could carry on, Richard, and then maybe Chemo could chime in.
Well, I'll be very succinct at this point, and I'm going to draw your attention to a team that I've followed throughout the years, and that is Brazil. Brazil is a team that I've been following since way back 1980. God, my God, I think I've seen them in. Is that me? I can hear some crackling.
Let me see. 1 second.
Can you hear some crackling? Is that?
I think that's you, Kim. I've just had to pause your microphone. I think there's a crackling coming from your phone. I'm gonna unpause it again and see if I can still hear it. Can you unmute?
Sounds better.
Yeah, you can go, Richard. Yeah, thanks, Timo.
Nice one. No, with regards to Brazil, Brazil, fast forward to this current campaign and previous campaign, 2018, they had a pretty good team, and then they were beaten by Belgium. Still have a good team going forward, but what they've done under Chichi, T-I-T-E, but pronounced Chichi, he is a well-renowned and reputable coach. He's decided to call on players that he feels can match his expectations on what and how he wants Brazil to play. He's got a collection of players together and has brought in those who he feels can add, and he wants to have a look at them. But when it comes to push and the push comes to shove, he knows that he has a band of players, a group of players that he can call on time upon time upon time. And then it's whittled down to a core group that every time there's a call up, as day follows night, you can expect these players who he trusts and who trust each other, know each other's games, understand each other's games and the role that they play in the team and how valuable they are. Whether we from outside see that there are limitations to their games is irrespective and not relevant. What's relevant is what these band of brothers can bring to the party. And what that is cohesion, trust, fluency, combativeness. They've got each other's back, and Brazil have been scrapping with the best of them, scrapping as well as producing the jogo bonito style of football. And that combination has proved mightily effective, unbeaten in the World Cup qualifying campaign. I want to see Jamaica with a band of brothers who have each other's back day in and session out, whether they're called up or not, because you can only call a 23 or 30 man party at any given time. But those players know each other's game, know what is at stake, and are fighting for one cause. Brazil, the Seleção, are fighting for one cause. Argentina have taken a leaf out of the book, and they're fighting for one cause, which is Argentina, which is Brazil. What I want to see is a team that is fighting for one cause and one cause only. Jamaica. One cause only. And when they come together, the more they understand the systems of play, the easier they would look on the eye, and the results, trust me, will come. But it takes work and time, work and time, work, trust and time. These are the key ingredients, as far as I'm concerned, for Jamaica going forward and to having given themselves the chance to qualify for Qatar 2026. The chopping and changing only goes so far. If you want to look at players who you think can do a job, call them in. But they need to be singing from one sheet, and there's no ifs or buts about it. You will see the results come rain or come shine. Trust me on that one. Chemo, speak.
Good point, Sir Richard. Because I came home yesterday and I watched the highlights against I think Brazil and Paraguay played, and I watched it and I learned a lot. That player by the name of Rafinha, he's really good. And watching Brazil in the highlights, it could show that these players actually play as a team, brother, a family. They are really good. The team is really good. You understand? They know each other. But I think Paul Hall should use his strength, because Paul Hall is responsible for one of the youth teams in England, right? For QPR, I think. Is that so? So I think he now should plan around, make his plan with the youth, and do not consider whatever the result may be. Because if he's using players from maybe 17 to 25 and building a team around them with the combination with the ones from in the UK, getting them to come and mix with the likes of the Tyree McGee's and so on, we will get something like that. Players that know players when the time comes around. You understand? But when we are getting adults now, they're just playing the ball or playing what they basically see with no passion and no love with the football for each other. And it's not just on the field. When players know themselves off the field, it's even another thing. And some of the things that I did not like to see when the guys were here, I used to see like just the UK based players here and the Jamaican players or the USL players over there. I wanted to see that mix. And I'm not saying that players weren't all right with players. It's just that maybe they're not used to them, or some persons are not expressive. Some of the guys are shy. And person can think that maybe if I relate to a Maps relating to a Andre Gray or a Bobby relating to, a Ravel, they would understand each other even more. You understand me? So I'm not judging that there's a segregation, but it's coming from who is playing against who from that younger age and know about each other. There's nothing much. Basically, what person is knowing about each other now, or these players are knowing about each other now, is what they basically heard or come to see when they come to train. and for preparation for the national team to play a game. You understand? So it's something to fix going forward. Let the UK-based player mix with if they are gonna share rooms, it's gonna be a UK-based player with a a local-based player. So you'll get a more understanding with them. You understand? As I said, the youth is everything now. We have to plan with the youth and have a few experienced players around the youth. So a bunch of say a bunch of 30, a 30-man squad, and then we have a mixture of 12 senior persons in the mixture, you know, with a 28 with a 20 with a what would that would be now? A 28, you know, or a 22 young players. So we need that, and we have to start doing good scouting both locally and internationally with goalkeepers as well. That's another point that we should strengthen. Goalkeepers that can actually use their feet well. We have to be looking at the age bracket. Remember how all the English-based team is picked. It's based of current form and who is playing the better football, because they need the best players out there at all times. It's not based off this player always in the team, so it's gonna look away if we drop him, regardless of him not, playing well now, but he's always in the team. He knows the teams well and he bring a vibe. No, because it's results that counts at the end of the day, and the coach or the manager has a job to do. And if he doesn't come up with the goods, he has people, the public, and everyone to answer to. You understand? So, and he have sponsors as well that is giving their input, and no one wanna lose. So there's a lot to play for. It's more than just the country and all. It's marketing, it's business. So really and truly, when you see the likes of England is picking their team, and you look at the in the pipeline, the amount of quality players are there waiting to get a call. So that you have guys like Aaron Ramsdale as a goalkeeper. You have Jordan Pickford. You have the Heatons and the so on and so forth. Is the best players that makes the cut, and that is even a bigger country. We have a lot of players to choose from, and with proper management and nurturing the talent, we can actually get to see some of those players, and to choose from, because we have the time. It's 2026, but if we wait until Gold Cup or next year or 2 years before, it won't happen. We have to start now.
You're making some great points there.
It's an interesting one there. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Richard. I'm gonna leave the floor to the both of you for a quick second. I need to just pop out outside quite briefly, maybe for a minute or two. I just want to touch on your roommate's point. I think it's one where we perhaps shouldn't force that up upon the guys themselves. I totally get where you're coming from, but I think it's a bit of an old school approach. And I think in modern football, players are a little bit more expressive. I think we should trust them that you can go and sit with someone who you perhaps rub shoulders with at youth level for Jamaica. Yeah. And still go and share that room with them, because the last thing you want to do is to unsettle a player. And also, if you're coming from England and you're, say, Ethan Pinnock, and we go and recruit a Damari Gray, perhaps a Damari Gray is more comfortable around a Ethan Pinnock or a Mikel Antonio, because that's who he's used to. So I think if you put him Damari Gray in a room with Mikel Antonio, I think that eases him into the Jamaica setup, as opposed to putting him, no disrespect, with someone like Blakey. Although Blakey would be the captain, he's more likely to get an instant connection with Mikel Antonio in terms of comfort and familiarity, because he's seen Mikel Antonio week in, week out. And also, I think there's different ways of forming team bonding. We've seen it at club level. You can go and do paintballing. You can go and do a bit of the dirt bike
Yeah.
riding, although
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest anything that's too heavily physical because you might injure yourself. But the beach
Yeah.
is there. Some of the beautiful things that you could do in Jamaica. You could take a walk up Blue Mountain. So many stuff
Yeah.
that you can do as a team. I don't necessarily think that
Yeah, that's true.
day
That's
and
true.
age that you should say to a player you should definitely be sleeping or sharing a separate sharing a same room with somebody that you don't necessarily know or are comfortable with.
Yeah. But for me, as I was saying it, as it relates to maybe the youth, the more younger generation, because I think that those guys would maybe want to get to know know their teammates. I wasn't per se saying these adults, but there's a lot more lot of things that things they can put in place and implement to form a togetherness with these players.
I'd agree
I
with you,
think so.
Kimo. I would agree with you, as well as what Crystal was saying. There are various other ways. I mean, you could take a tour. The team could. I know we're living in particularly challenging times in Jamaica, but going forward, the opportunity to move through Jamaica, sweet jam down, and take a look around the parishes and the island, and seeing the people in their in and where they live. I think that is also good opportunities to flex and to be able to bond more and understand Jamaica, because for some of the players overseas, they've not had the chance to take in Jamaica cultural wise. So I think those are opportunities to increase bonding as well. I think, Kimo, I don't know what you make of the coaching levels in Jamaica. I think one of the things that
Yeah.
I hesitate on, but I think going forward, I think Paul Hall has alluded to it. An improvement in coaching. Unseen Sport, Captain Parchi, he's recently successfully undertaken a D coaching level certificate in coaching, and he pointed out to some startling facts. Maybe over 1,000 coaches around the country who have no coaching certificate or qualifications, and they are coming into contact with up to 30 players at any given time, and then those players are matriculating and going forth with a limited insight into the requirements and the developments of a footballing IQ. So
Yeah.
when you've got that situation, expecting these players, and some of whom could be playing Manning's Cup football, the Costa Cup, the Ben Francis Trophy, so on and so forth, to expect these players to have the required skills level and acumen to actually cut it at international level will be a challenge in itself, which is why there will always be a calling and the attraction of calling players who are ready, almost ready-made. Jamaicans playing their trade and playing their trade in the Premiership and Premier League in England, and whether they be in countries such as Russia. We've got Shamar Nicholson now, and he can only hopefully get better. But when you've got players who are ready, almost ready, tailor-made, quality-wise, strength-wise, tactical-wise, to compete on the international stage going forward, that's what we're going to have to call on. I think Jamaica has unique challenges. I think Jamaica has unique challenges as well as opportunities going forward. And this campaign, again, I'll go back to what I said initially. I've been surprised, maybe more fool me, because I think there are people out there who may have well been within their rights to demand a refund. I think certain people may have demanded a refund because based on the Jamaican campaign in the Gold Cup, which in certain quarters we were expected to win or at least reach the finals, well, that could be a case of really inflated expectations, because when you add the flavor of the Ravel Morrisons and the Kamaroos to the party, the Mikel Antonio, of course, Captain Jamaica, as JD has coined him from IMAX it. When you add that flavor, you'd have expected better results, better rewards. But we've learnt and learnt the hard way. Crystal, you laugh.
I'm
Hard
laughing
way.
because all that's playing in my mind is I maybe missed the bulk of what you said, but I caught on to you saying that some fans are asking for a refund. A refund for what? What exactly? What refund for what?
My
A
lord,
refund for what?
Crystal.
What do you want to be refunded? You knew what you was putting yourself up to. You knew exactly what you was getting. You knew what you signed up for. If you're talking about a refund for going to watch the boys at the National Stadium, then you've got to be kidding me. Did you not know realistically? It's almost as if some fans live in a bubble. And
My
maybe you have to
goodness.
repeat what you said, Richard, because maybe I just completely missed it. But a refund for what exactly? You
Well, I'm
didn't know
gonna.
what you signed up for?
Well, Crystal. After that, in fact, during that Gold Cup, Crystal, I don't know if you were picking up on it, but I joined the vlogosphere and the platform during I think it was post the Suriname game, and listen, the likes of Fourth Official and many others out there were saying we're going to win this Gold Cup. Mexico and Canada and the United States have got C- teams, not A quality, not B. This is their second or third string teams in this competition. Jamaica, step and look fast. We're going to get this job done. We can lift this Gold Cup. What I saw initially on the team sheet when the tiddlywinks formations were being put together, and I looked on the team sheet and I said, Chemo, I looked and I said, who are these players? Now, admittedly, I literally was asking genuinely, who are these players? Why are you waxing lyrical and being so confident? Outside the fact that, of course, as fans, you want to be confident. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'd like to be confident that we can take on all comers. But the reality is it's another thing. But the team that I saw was not really something to write home about necessarily, which is why I personally was looking forward to the input of additional players with championship quality and Premier League quality. I thought that would be more than sufficient to get the job done in this octagonal campaign that we're presently in. That's what I thought. That was the narrative that I was following. But more fool me, a refund, I say, Crystal, could have been asked for, because look where Jamaica are.
You've
Played
got to be kidding
9,
me. I've heard some
7
crazy stuff.
points.
I know you're simply reiterating what you've seen across a number of platforms, but I think sometimes, like I've said to you before in a few of our conversations, that fans, and it's not just Reggae Boys fans, it could be fans at club level. I've done it sometimes as well, quite often as the 12th man, you speak purely based off emotions. You would have some fans who went into the season based off Manchester United's recruitment, who would have said, they would have argued with you to the end of the world, that Manchester United will be winning the league, or Manchester United will be challenging the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, and then late on their rivals, Manchester City. They would argue with you on that, and that's based off emotions rather than looking at reality and looking at what's right in front of you. So when you're saying that, I would laugh at any Manchester United fan who was talking about you want a refund after you wasted your money to go and watch them play and they didn't fulfill your expectation. You know exactly what you signed up for. There's no way I would buy, as things stands with Arsenal, there's no way I would buy a ticket to watch Arsenal play, be it home or away, and then turn around and say I want a refund. I know I'm at risk of either I could potentially win this game, could potentially draw this game, and I could also put myself at risk of being humiliated. So that simply means I'm not stepping out of my house with just an Arsenal jersey. I'm bringing my jacket as well. So if you embarrass me, I can hide that badge and I can go home on my journey in peace without having people mock me. You know what you sign up for. So stop this. You want a refund. Refund for what?
Crystal, I just want to get some clarification, and I'm going to go to Chemo, and I'd love to hear. Just keep an eye on the viewers and subscribers out there. Hit that like button. Hit that like button out there, please. Crystal is providing a platform for quality, cool, calm, incisive reasoning. Please hit the like button. This shares and increases the visibility so others can learn, listen, also share and subscribe, and that the communication and hopefully the strength of Jamaican football increases with more knowledge and more power. Crystal, I just want to get crystal clear clarification. And then Chemo, I want to hear from you. In that Gold Cup, did you, going forward, expect Jamaica to be ultra competitive for a top 4 final berth in this 8-team competition? Get me now. I'm listening carefully. Chemo, did you hear the question? During the Gold Cup campaign that's just recently been concluded back in June, I think it was back in June, did you expect Jamaica going forward with the addition of English-based Jamaican players, the Kimar Roofs, the Mikel Antonios, the list goes on. We had the Bobby Reeves, we got the DJ Johnsons. Did you expect a top 4 finish in this campaign?
We didn't have Kemaru.
No. I said knowing that we would have.
You're talking about the campaign, the World Cup campaign, or the Gold Cup?
Cast your mind back during the Gold Cup campaign. At that point, and going forward, looking ahead to the forthcoming World Cup qualification octagonal tournament, did you have expectations that Jamaica would be vying credibly for a top 3 or 4th place berth? That's my question, and that goes to Crystal and the viewers and subscribers out there. I want your honest assessment, because from there we can see who was delusional, who was realistic, and who know what clock a strike. Chemo, and then Crystal, I want clarity. I'll be listening.
Okay, so for me, I was thinking about a top 4. I wasn't that confident of a top 3. A top 3 performance, would means that I would have to see that level of because it would take some level of consistency, for even the top 3 teams. Because who is that third now? Mexico, right? And they went down and had dropped a few points, and they bounced back. You could say they bounced back, So it was top 4 for me, to be honest. I had expectations. With the likes and the inclusion of Mikel Antonio, Kemar Roof, Jamal Lowe, and the players at hand. I had the confidence and I have the belief that we could do it. As I said, I have learned a lot from this campaign.
Oh yes.
And I realized that qualifying for the World Cup is not just an on the field issue. It's off the field as well. And what we try to do, Crystal used a term earlier, I don't remember, something about quicksand or something like that. Build on quicksand. Yes, build on quicksand. It was building on quicksand. Yes. And
I want to get back to that. I want to get back to
what we
Crystal.
did.
You seem like you've got some builder DNA in you, Crystal, because every time you talk about quicksand and foundations, I'm listening and I'm thinking, boy, she beats me when it comes to DIY, man. She well know about foundation and them thing there. Crystal, can you give us some insight on that foundational business and the top 4 business? Go ahead.
Before I chime in, let me just big up Lance and Jojo. Do go over and check them out on YouTube, guys, and do hit that like and subscribe button over on their channel. And as they do belong to our community, Jamaican community, that is. And also big up the legend himself, I Am Sure Sports, another fellow content creator within the Jamaican community. So do head over to his channel as well and hit the like and subscribe button. Earlier on at the start of the year, I did give I am sure Sports Mr. Mannings is full credit for his support last year. So hopefully he managed to catch a glimpse of that. If not, thank you, Mannings, for coming onto my channel last year. Definitely appreciate your support. A belated Happy New Year to yourself. And I do hope that this year will be the best year of your life for your friends and family. And going back to what you were saying, Richard, before I cut you off, what was you saying now? Quicksand. Yes, I do believe that the JFF build foundation and the base of their foundation is quicksand, and I don't think nobody can argue against that one because this is just there in plain eyesight with how the Jamaica Football Federation operate.
So bearing that in mind, because I mean, I don't know if you can shed a little light. What makes those foundations so quicksand-ish? And given that, what were your expectations, Crystal, from
It's
where
in-
you were
in terms-
standing as to where Jamaica would or could have finished in this octagonal campaign? Go ahead.
In terms of quicksand, it's quite simple. There's the lack of stability there. You would argue that there is no stability. So if there's no stability, it's inevitable that we will fall. Whether if you fall gracefully or fall embarrassingly, you're going to fall because there's no stability there whatsoever. And we're not going to try and say it any other way. We speak with respect and we try to be as professional as we can. But what you cannot do is hide away from the truth. And the truth, the fact of the matter is the Jamaica Football Federation build their system or build their house, and the base that they use to build their house is quicksand. They don't use cement and gravel or whatever you want to use. I'm not a builder. I'm not a build woman or a buildman or a build person. I don't actually know nothing about DIY, funny enough, but I do have eyes and I can clearly see that they build their foundation and using quicksand as the base, and that's a foolish approach, and that's for someone who knows nothing about building. And in terms of expectation, I don't actually want to tell a lie. I can't recall what my expectation was, but realistically speaking, I think going ahead for the foreseeable future, we need to be realistic with ourselves and we need to stop overrating ourselves. We need to look ourselves in the mirror and actually see that whilst we might have the quality of players that are arguably better than what we've seen of yesteryear, we don't have the right, we've not earned the right to put ourselves in the same bracket as Canada. You heard what Darren Mattocks said in his Instagram post earlier on at the start of the week. He said that they have a system, Canada have a system in place, right? They've got a system. Does Jamaica have a system? No. So how dare us even put our names in the same bracket as Canada? I don't even think we can put ourselves in the same bracket as Mexico, because like I've said, this is the worst Mexico side we've ever seen. Our good friend Carlos Eduardo came on my channel, diehard Mexican fan, knows Mexico like the back of his hand, and he said it quite clearly. This is the most depleted. This is the worst Mexican side that he's ever seen. It speaks volumes that we can't get the better of them. We actually beat ourselves. Rather than Mexico beating us on home soil, we beat ourselves. How foolish is that? But then we
And
want
they're
to
coming back strong.
and they're getting better. They're getting
coming
better.
back strong.
They're beating us. We're helping them to beat us, and they're taking lessons from that. And they're gonna come back twice as strong. Whilst we're there with our little quicksand, wondering why we're not stabilized. Gee, I wonder why. Let's take a rough guess and see if we can gather the reason as to that.
You sound like JD from IMAX.
I guess
you sound like JD from IMAX. It a reality check is what I'm saying, and JD has been burning the fire. Yes, Chemo.
I think the thing is that, you know, remember, even though this is the worst they have seen themselves in recent times, since lately, remember they had a glorious times as well. And it's those glorious times that let them have belief whenever they're playing against us, who they might see as minnows, or a team that, listen, we have beaten Jamaica from a losing position, a winning position, you know? So it's that confidence. I mean, Jamaica could be leading Mexico maybe 3-0 in the first half, and Mexico go in the change room at halftime and be like, listen, we can get back from this position. We have been in worse position and we have overcome all of that. So it's that level of confidence they might have and
Belief.
belief because they have won trophies, they have won the Gold Cup. You understand? They have won the Gold Cups at umpteen of time. They have qualified for the World Cup. They have beaten Germany. You know, they have beaten quality teams
But what
from
makes this
Europe.
particular, what
And
makes
just
this
the same with
situation,
USA. Mhm.
sorry to cut you, Kimo, you can continue, but I just wanted to say what's interesting in this campaign, which has opened many people's eyes, certainly opened my eyes without question or hesitation, is how the likes of El Salvador and Costa Rica, who are not the big hitters, but they have acquitted themselves and shown a belief that they can get something against the likes of Jamaica. El Salvador were losing and with a Mikel Antonio inspired Jamaica, and yet still they could fashion a quality late equalizer. Costa Rica were being hammered by Jamaica in the last game there.
Mhm.
Jamaica had 70 or 76% up. I mean, that's ridiculously high for Jamaica by their recent
And
standards.
600 passes and make 600 passes and
Absolutely.
you know.
And yet halftime came, Brian Ruiz came on, the experienced old wily foxy campaigner came on, and they
He
had a belief that they could get
that's what
something, as you said, and they duly did. And what a
one
goal to concede. Go ahead.
one player made a
Reality
big
check.
impact. One player made a big impact in that game, and it's Brian Ruiz. When he came on, it's like he's a leader, so the players look up to him and believe in him. And he came and changed the game. He played intelligent, and then he burned out a lot of minutes. If you realize, he burned out
Absolutely.
a lot of minutes.
Game management, game management, and they did the same thing in the Gold Cup. Jamaica again played a really good game under Tapper in the Gold Cup. It was a dead rubber. They qualified for the quarterfinals to meet the USA, who eventually knocked them out. But Costa Rica were under the cosh against Jamaica, failed to score and failed to capitalize on their advantage. And who stepped up with the header? Mr. Brian Ruiz. 1-0 defeat. And I'll tell you the hardest thing to do, I've got a question actually, I'm going to just throw it out there randomly. The hardest thing to do, as far as I'm concerned in football, is to put the ball in the back of the net. I was watching Manchester United playing against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup a few hours ago. They've been knocked out. Crystal, maybe you can send a word of or arm of comfort from across the waters to Coach Minzy, because yes, his team has been knocked out on penalties, but they had a whole host of chances and opportunities to score, including the great Cristiano Ronaldo. But the hardest thing to do is to put the ball in the back of the net. They couldn't take care of their advantage. It was 1-1. They went to penalties, and at home at Old Trafford, they were knocked out of the FA Cup. The
You
hardest
remember
thing
in
to do is
that
score a
game?
goal. Oh, go ahead, because I was going to ask, what the top three strikers you think Jamaica have? The top three strikers Jamaica have at their disposal going forward. But go ahead, Kimo.
You remember in the Gold Cup we played Costa Rica, and we were all over them.
Yes.
And we were all over them as well in the first half. And it's the same things and the finer details that is beating us, you know. And things keep coming like deja vu, you know, similar goals being scored, you know, on us. But you're saying now, our top three strikers, you know that I don't know if you heard on the other platforms, persons talking about a kid by the name of Dujan Richards. He's from Port Royal in Kingston. He's 16 years old. He's in England right now. He's from the Craig Butler's Academy. He's 16. He's 6'1", I think. He can kick the ball with both feet, and he scored a lot of goals against the Aston Villa under 20 team. I think on under 20. He's a good player to look out for. He's strong. He kicks the ball from anywhere.
Can we have that name again? It sounds like a great prospect, young but a prospect. What's the name?
Oh, maybe he's your nephew. I'm not sure. His name is Dujan Richards. Dujan Richards. They call him Whisper.
I have heard inklings, but I'll bear in mind and remember that name. Could you
Yeah.
provide two other strikers? I mean, this gentleman is a little young, maybe for the 2026 push.
Oh, you're talking about the 2026 campaign?
Well, going forward, I mean, we've got the
I
Gold
think
Cup,
that
we've
makes
got
sense.
Nations Cup.
I think it makes sense what he's possibly. So I think it interlinks well with your point there, Richard. Because I think we're at a point where, and this is backtracking a little bit, where you said, you know, what can we learn from the likes of your Mexico, your let's leave it on Mexico. I think what we can learn from Mexico is looking at their senior players, the players that you might want to call your fine wine, and perhaps you can look at Costa Rica and look at their fine wine. Their fine wine is obviously their goalkeeper, and I think for us we can take a page out of their book but get the balance right in terms of where youth is concerned. So you can perhaps look to integrate a young striker, a young forward. You can argue that Shamar Nicholson is at that age where he's, in football terms, he is still young. And he's approaching the peak years of his career. So we could possibly look to get a younger striker and then also obviously lean on Mikel Antonio as well going forward.
To be honest, 16 is going to be 17 soon. Remember, Bukayo Saka was 17 when he came onto the scene for Arsenal, and since it's uphill from there for him. If they did not give him a chance to grow and express himself, he wouldn't be the Saka that we know right now. So I think that he's one to consider. You know, he's in England, and it's good that he's already in England getting used to certain kind of conditions at an early age, you know. And with how Craig Butler's program and the way how he nurtures these talents, there's hope. And I would love to see him in Paul Hall's plan in the next couple of months. You know, I would love to see him because the kid is good. The kid is good.
Can I ask you guys a question? As you've raised this point, and I'm looking forward to the cream of the crop of Jamaican talent coming to the fore. Again, quality. It goes back to quality and having the ability to take in the information that the likes of Paul Hall will be giving out to the players. Can they actually fulfill a task? And a lot of these CONCACAF rivals that we face thus far, they have been together and united as a team, and I think that is just really so important. My question, Kimo and Crystal, and to the viewers and subscribers out there, please hit that like button. Crystal, Kimo, to what extent do players who are based overseas need to adjust to the rigors and requirements of CONCACAF football? I believe that team unity, and again, going back to that cohesiveness, having a team that is made up of the best players available who are willing to die for the cause, but are also familiar with playing together so they know and have each other's back. But to what extent do you feel that players from overseas need to be fully acclimatized to the rigors and demands of CONCACAF football? Because that's going to be another key, I think, factor that Paul Hall will have to mull over going forward. But what say you? Should that be overstated, or is that something that is not as important as I may be suggesting it is? Crystal?
No, there's if it's important to yourself, then nobody can dispute against that. There's a reason why you've asked it, and I'm sure there's a valid reason. But I think this one just comes down to experience, and it's giving those players the experience and being patient with them. But also, it's not a case of us just looking at the players who are based overseas, be it in the UK or based in the USA. It's a collective analysis. Because it can't just be a case where we're expecting them to go above and beyond. What about the rest of the players? Everybody has to be fighting for each other. We can't just be looking at saying, what are the UK guys doing? No, what is every single player doing? There's a reason why we're speaking so highly of Lamar Walker. As small as he is, he's evidently quite bold on the pitch, especially if you looked at the last few games of Lamar Walker. Lamar Walker has stood up to be held in account. Lamar Walker has made himself visible. Lamar Walker has tried to step up to the plate. And that's one of the smallest men on the pitch. And when I look on the pitch, I can see the first player, Lamar Walker. Why is that? So those are the serious topics that we need to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that will definitely help to improve us going forward, in my opinion.
I mean, in the next couple of months, Paul will also have a lot of work to do, a lot of research to do, you know, a lot of grassroots work to do with eligible players and potential reggae boys. You understand? With these youngsters, he has a lot to do. You understand? If he's going to plan on having the helm for long for to carry us to the 2026 World Cup. So you're saying that we are saying again with the expectations that we would have from these players in the UK when they come to play in CONCACAF, with how rigorous it is. Really and truly, as I said earlier, we need them to come at an early age to mix with these local based players, to get acquainted with each other from an early stage, get to know the style, the way they play. You understand? So in the next couple of years, you know, because maybe you're going to be chop and change, yes, in the beginning, but getting used to a bit of familiar faces and how each other play is good. That can be done in a couple of years. And, you know, they're always going to talk about the quota system that we have to bear in mind. I don't know if that would change as well, because I still think sometimes the quota system actually damage the game.
The vexed Q question. The vexed Q. Crystal, how much time do you have on this particular stream?
I have about just under 20 minutes to go. We're in the same time zone, aren't we, Richard? So
yes, we
are. It's almost 2:45 in the morning over here in the UK, and I can feel my eyes twitching. And when it starts to twitch, it's obviously a sign that I need to get myself to bed. So my eyes is twitching at the moment. So about 20 more minutes, and then I'll have to wrap up.
I'm going to ease off and I'm going to listen to Chemo brought it up. He just mentioned it. And I'm going to press you, because there's going to be a camp and people who will be, if they're not using the word, they'll be alluding to it. I think we've alluded to it on this platform. Crystal and Chemo, the Q question. Q can be for quality. Q can be for qualification. Q can also be for quota. Speak. Is there a place for a quota system in any way, shape, or form within the Jamaican national setup? And I'll include the youth level at that. I'm going to back up and listen to the responses. Viewers and subscribers, hit the like button, please. And I'd like to see what you feel out there. Is there a place for a quota system in any way, shape, or form for Jamaican football to go forward? Speak.
When you say, sorry, Chemo, carry on.
Okay, so this is very opinionated right now, because for me, I don't think we should have a quota system, because you never can tell what position the team might be in and what things can boil down to at the end of the day, you know. So it's whoever is available and whoever we need at the time and what's important for the team. You understand? Because I think this quota system can really affect the team. The quota system actually affects the team this recent campaign. You know, the quota system actually did. And a lot of things happened behind closed door that we did not know about.
You hear that,
You
Pagan?
understand?
You hear that,
Because
Pagan? You hear that?
so quota system, nah, not for me. But we have to bear that in mind because it was brought up earlier in the campaign that there was a quota system.
Certainly, and I was not really aware to what
because where a quota system is concerned, there will be like a segregation. Yeah, you have to think about that quota system, a segregation, and there's gonna come a problem. Well, if it's gonna be every time we're talking, it's gonna sound like the overseas, the UK based players and the local based players. That's the segregation. I want it coming forward to be the Jamaican players playing in England. You understand? The Jamaican players playing. I don't like it. We're trying to segregate because the nationality is going to boil down to whether you're going to be a Jamaican at the end of the day or you're going to be a UK, a English player. Because if you're not playing for England, you're not an English player. You're going to be an English-born player playing for Jamaica. But yeah, so we don't want to take that. That's the reason why I'm saying it's good to plan around the youth. It's always good to plan around the youth. It's not just good for this reason alone, but it's always good because players going to age and you have to start saying we're gonna look for talent 17 to 25. You understand? And look on say 8 years of football from them. And I don't think that we were doing that, because a lot of talent I have seen gone to waste in Jamaica. These talent wasn't nurtured properly. You understand? So let us use this campaign to sort out all the wrongs that were made in the past.
The thing is, thank you for that, Kimo, and also thank you for the question, Richard. It's a very good question. But to summarize it all, and obviously this is just my opinion, I don't think there's necessarily right and wrong answers here, but just to add on to what Kimo has stated, I don't necessarily think that you can call yourself a patriot and still wave the flag of wanting a quota system, because part of being a patriot is you should carry the Jamaican national motto with pride, which is out of many one people. How can you say you are a patriot and you believe in out of many one people, but you are championing for a quota system? And in terms of Jamaican football fans are desperate for success, and that sometimes I think they're so unrealistic. They feel like they're entitled to success because they are Jamaican football fans and they support Jamaica, and we're supposed to be the nicest thing since sliced bread, when in reality we're far from that, with respect. And also, if we're talking about wanting to do well, exceptionally well in the Gold Cup, the Nations League, and subsequently the World Cup qualifiers next time round, then surely we should be working to priority. Is a quota system part of Jamaica's priority in terms of wanting things to be done well for the betterment of success, the betterment of Jamaica, the betterment of development for the where the football is concerned in our country? Is the quota system really important right now? Again, you're having conversations that is none of our concern, none of our business, and this is probably a quota system probably suits countries that don't, or should countries that don't pride themselves with national mottos such as out of many one people. So they can, whoever come up with the quota system can kindly bin that quota system, and let's actually get our hands dirty here and start doing some real problem solving. That's not a problem solving, that is causing a problem. You're not solving nothing, you are causing further headaches. But thank you so much for your comments, for your questions.
Yeah, we're saying out of many one people. And then when we get because we even have players in Germany that can play
all over the
Europe,
world.
not just even in China and Japan. I see that this Japanese footballer can also play for us. Look at Todd Cantwell. They said that Todd Cantwell had Jamaican heritage, and Emil Smith Rowe. And if you look on the back of the money out here with the out of many one people, you see a white man, a Chinese man, a black man, and an Asian. You see that's why it's called out of many one people. people from different ethnic groups.
I wonder
Yeah.
what our rivals. I wonder what our rivals in the CONCACAF region are doing. Do they have anything? Do they have any debates along these lines? I suspect they may do, but also I suspect that they've overcome those issues. Maybe these are issues unique to Jamaica. I don't know. Crystal, what are the commenters saying? We don't want to miss out
I
because
think
they
I've
are
pretty much brought
very.
up all the relevant comment, but I think if it's not about speaking positively and taking something that's positive from people or countries that we feel we should be rubbing shoulders with, then I think it's best to leave that alone, because before we can look outside of our house, we have to look at what's going inside our house. There's no way my house can be chaotic, but I'm popping over to Chemo's house or to Richard's house and being fast and putting my place where I'm not concerned or where I don't belong, and telling Richard or Chemo that their kids are misbehaving or their kids need to do this. So I don't have no place going to putting myself where Richard or where Chemo resign. I need to stay at home and I need to get things right first before I branch off. As they say, charity begins at home. Focus on your problem on hand and stop looking at what your next door neighbor is doing. Jamaica should probably look at track and field. If you're if you're going on track and field and you're going for a sprint, what are you doing? You're lining up in the blocks, and then after you line up in the blocks and the gun goes off, you take off. Right? Be it like Shelley and be it like Elaine, be it like Asafa, be it like the man himself, Mr. Usain. You take off. What do? You don't look back. The only time you look back is when you're Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt only looked back when he became the king of track and field. Usain Bolt never grew up looking back at his opponents. Usain Bolt started to look back when he put himself in a respectable position where he could look back. So we need to stop talking about what is this country doing, what's that doing. Again, more distractions. Don't worry about what they're doing. You think they're worrying about us when we're bringing on the likes of Mikel Antonio and Ethan Pinnock, Premier League players? They don't care. They're not focusing on that. And if they do look at us, they're looking at how they can tear us down. They're looking at how they can make life uncomfortable for Mikel Antonio when they buck him. So those are the things that we need to look at if we are going to be fastening up ourselves and looking at what other countries are doing.
Yeah, build on our infrastructure and proper fields to play on. So, but those are the things that is actually necessary to our development, the nation building right now. It's not about quota of player. We need to have as much player at our disposal to choose from, because we need the quality. You see, it at one point it was boiled down to getting CDM, where we have to use makeshift CDM, and we are out here, and we could not choose from what we have to put in the national team, and from the nation. We're looking left and right. We have to make a makeshift CDM. So those are the things that we should look on. There's no such thing. We should have in our minds about any quota system. We have other things to fix before we can start to think about a quota system. We need I'm sure there's no quota system in the England team. Regardless, there's no quota system. It's who is playing the best football at the moment they need in the team. Some tough decisions have to make. Every World Cup, I'm sure there are going to be players in that England squad, and when the World Cup comes, one of them is going to miss out based on a person who right now maybe isn't on form. Right now he isn't on form, but he's going to pick up form maybe at the end of the season, and that is what's going to make him available for selection.
Repeat that name again for me, Chemo.
I'm just saying, someone can be not on form right now, but at the end of the season, as it going to the latter part of the season, someone maybe can score 6 goals in like 5 games.
Yeah,
an English-based player, and then he's the hottest player right now. He's the on-form player right now. He's the one that they are maybe going to look on. It depends. You understand? Because you remember 2010 World Cup, they brought MLSK over Theo Walcott for the 2010 World Cup.
It's all about needs.
Was a rough one.
He was the player that I think you might have giving an example to a player. Who was the player that you mentioned? Felt like I heard a name.
I'm not sure if
Uh,
he.
I
I
didn't
don't,
use a name.
yeah, I don't
Oh,
think
I
he
thought you
referred
heard a
to a
name. I
particular
thought
name.
you heard a name. I thought it must be sleep. It's the time, guys. I'm giving myself 7 more minutes. I thought you said a
Yeah.
name. That's was like,
No, I didn't say. I didn't say
okay,
a
okay,
name.
okay. My
Not a
I didn't say.
specific
apologies.
name, but just
But we didn't know need. We don't need
but
name.
to draw reference to England and Brazil, for example, in terms of picking players based on form, I think Paul Hall alluded to it early in his tenure as Jamaican interim head coach. He said that he'd be looking to pick players based on their form, and with reference to England, Gareth Southgate, he drew on Calvin Phillip, Leeds central midfielder. Leeds, not the most fashionable of clubs. Cataracts' team, he follows them avidly. But Mr. Phillips, he was actually playing ball. He was producing performance after performance, strong performance against leading clubs, and Gareth Southgate took a chance, but more than a chance, because he was actually playing well, showing that he was in good form, showing that he had the required energy levels and the ability to play the role of a central defensive midfielder. And he was brought into the fold, and he's been there ever since. And once he's available, I think he's been injured for quite a bit this season, but he's a quality performer who is trusted by Southgate and his fellow teammates. For Brazil, Rafinha and Anthony. Rafinha, who's also a Leeds player, was not in the mix, but he's been producing performance after performance for Leeds. He's got the call up. He's been recognised by Chichi, and he's in the fold, and he's a starter over the likes of Rodrigo, who is at superstar team Real Madrid. Another player is Anthony, who plays for
Ajax.
Ajax, and Anthony. No one had heard too much about Anthony compared to the other names like the Coutinhos, but his form warranted inclusion. He's been given his
Yeah.
opportunity, and he's donned the
Yeah.
shirt, the national colours, and he's taken his opportunity. And we can look forward to seeing him performing, God willing, in Qatar. And he's really taken like a duck to water to international football. And I'm looking forward to Jamaican players, whoever they called up. Yeah, I want Jamaican players coming up and stepping up to the plate and taking the lead from Paul Hall. And I hope Paul Hall, in conclusion, really learns and is given that time to grow in his role. See, Paul Hall has got that experience of English football as well as a knowledge of Jamaican culture, and he's embraced both. And I think that he will bring a lot of qualities to this role. But the players under him need to be fitter, stronger in resolve and in desire and in quality to know what they can do and need to do. And the more time those players are given together for friendlies, for Gold Cup, for Nations Cup campaigns, and then World Cup qualifying, I think the greater Jamaica's chances are to fulfill the ambition of so many Jamaican fans right across the diaspora, which is to see a Jamaican team qualify for a World Cup and represent the nation with honor. It's a privilege, and we do have the talent, but it's going to require no shortcuts. No shortcuts. No. It's going to be hard work, dedication, and commitment from the fans, from the vlogosphere, from the players, the management, and the friending. We don't really want to play with them business. The friending, no. We need minds focused, because Canada, Panama, Mexico, they've shown the way. Costa Rica, the list it's in front of us. But Jamaica can do better, and I'm confident and I'm hopeful that they will do better. But it will require a reboot and a reset. And this is where the likes of Tallawah TV, IMAX it, Coaches Desk, the whole blogosphere community can play their part, because as you guys have rightly said, we are holding certain people to account. We are speaking up. We see where the talent is. We see where the shortfalls are. We see where the pit holes are. And we've been in that spin cycle, rinse and repeat. We don't want to continue. Let's learn lessons, get a reality check, and move forward for the good of Jamaica. 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 Peace, Crystal. I can't see your eyes twitching, so only you will know to what extent they're twitching. But you need to
Yeah.
sign up where you
They
need to
are,
sign up.
I think I'm start feeling a little twitching as well.
I'm so sorry, Chemo. I
No.
apologize. I
I'm doing.
apologize.
It's been a
It's
pleasure.
okay,
It's
man.
been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. It's always been a pleasure whenever I can come on and share my views on
Thank
these
you.
platforms. I know I'm not doing it in vain because these videos gonna reach out to someone who has an impact and can, make the changes that we want to see. These
Mhm.
videos are not doing in vain whenever you upload them onto, these platforms. Someone is going to actually see these videos and get an idea and a knowledge of whatever is at hand and try to make a few changes or
Yeah, there's a
some
lot of twitching.
players, So
Yeah, and hopefully, before I forget my manners, massive thank you to Coach Karumi who joined me earlier on, also Chemo and also Richard as well, and a special thank you to the guys in the comment section. This definitely isn't possible without you guys, without my panelists, and also without the guys in the comment section. Be it also the silent watchers, nobody's forced to make a comment, but thank you so much for making this live stream so engaging and interactive. Definitely have so much love and support for each and every one of you. And just going back to what Chemo said, just echo everything that they've said or Chemo has said. More importantly, I hope that the likes of the JFF and the players and possibly the coaching staff as well, that they see it as constructive criticism. Obviously, if we've come in, we've been disrespectful, then they just switch us off. They wouldn't want to hear from us. I don't think anyone on my platform, most certainly not tonight, has been disrespectful to them. So hopefully they will see it as constructive criticism and just take our points on board and make the necessary adjustments and get rid of or root out the dead wood and bring in something fresh and new.
Here. A reboot, and take it from the top, and let's move forward, and let's give that support and patience to Paul Hall. Decisions will have to be made in terms of how he's going to carry out the role. So the press will be asking hopefully the key questions, the cutting hard questions, and Paul Hall, you can be sure, will be ready, willing, and available to give those answers that we need. So I'd like to say that that's a big plus point. We can ask questions and be assured that the answers will be forthcoming and that we can get a chance to follow up and chew over what's been said. But for the good of Jamaican football, good and true, let's embrace the qualities and the best that Jamaica has to bring, and that includes learning from others and also checking ourselves. A reality check. That's what this World Cup qualifier campaign has brought. So we need to sober up, have a cuppa, whole of juice, and really begin to work hard. Nothing in this life, am I right, Crystal? If you want something in this life, oftentimes, more likely than not, you've got to work hard for it. Not everyone's got born with a spoon in their silver spoon in their mouth. So let's work some more, and then we will see, by God's grace, the fruits of our labor. One love, everybody. One love.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Crystal.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
And Chemo, beautiful to see you. Cool.
Respect.
Double vibes.
Special thank you to yourselves for jumping on. The guys in the comment section, please don't be shy. Please don't be reluctant. I would love to see a few of you jump on my live stream at some point in the future. Kai, I'm speaking to you. Pagan, Carlos has already jumped on. Super Nick, Roderick. I'm talking about all of you guys.
Trevor Pessoas and those guys.
I don't want to draw nobody
Tennessee
out.
Lewis.
Yeah, Tennessee, Lewis, you all are
1-1.
yeah, 1-1, Owen, you're all insightful individuals, and I
Yeah.
would love to share a platform with you all one day, but definitely no rush. I'm happy to still have you guys in the comment section or just to have you support in any way possible. Big up TJ as well. TJ, I hope
Warren
school's going
Webster's.
well. I hope TJ Warren as well. How can I forget Warren? I can't quite possibly name everyone. TJ, I
Yeah.
hope school's going well. Don't ever, ever, ever apologize for being late. Your education always comes first. And I hope that you do graduate with the best grade possible, be it distinction or triple A's or A's, all on the table. All the best with you and your education. TJ, thank you for your support. Final words, Kimo and Richard, before I close off on the live stream.
Well, for me, I think I've said it all, you know. I've said it all. I just want to say good luck to the guys, you know, when who gone back to their clubs, hope they keep fit. And I know that they want to help with the cause, you know, and they want to come back and put their input, seeing that they came and see the situation at hand, and they already see a way with how this can help, things can help, and things can get better with the players getting to play some more together, you know, the players getting to know each other and playing somewhere together. So that's one of the important point. All of them was singing one thing at the end of that final game, you know. Players need to play together, and the commitment, you know, that was a question about the commitment. And whenever they get a call, they would be there. I spoke to Mikel Antonio the same night that I saw you at the hotel, and he said, I asked him if whichever way the campaign goes, whether qualifier or not, he told me that, listen, he's gonna be here. Sure, he's gonna be here for the CONCACAF Nations League and also the Gold Cup. So just hopefully he keeps fit. All of these players are important, as Mikel Antonio. He's not
Yeah,
just one.
absolutely.
All of them.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So
Absolutely.
we're just looking forward to the future. We're looking forward to see the changes, because all of us want to see Jamaica as a football nation do well. And you know, when everything is going good in Jamaica, we have the vibes. We know how to have a party and a ball and enjoy ourselves. And that's what I want to see next. Us doing good as a team and the nation behind them. I only heard about 98 World Cup because I was about 3 years old. So I'm just imagining what it's like now, witnessing it all, you know. But I think good things come to those who wait. I guess I have to wait.
Even
I hope it starts in the Nations League and also the Gold Cup. Something to cheer about. Something for the players. I would love Antonio come and break break the record that Luton Shelton has with that 30 something goals. You know,
may
maybe he
his
can
soul
break it
rest in
in
peace, Mr.
case.
Luton
Yeah.
Shelton. And like TJ said, guys, before I love you and leave you, do not forget to leave a like and also do subscribe. And he summed it up beautifully here. If you're new, do turn on the notification button so that you can be in the know each time I come onto my channel. Ravi as well. What are you doing up so late, Ravi? I'm about to leave here. Thank you for joining me, Ravi. Again, special thank you to my lovely panelists, guys. I hope you have a splendid weekend. To the guys in the comment section, do take care of your loved ones. And hopefully, I can see you guys again on another live stream. Until next time.
I'm John Barnes, and you're watching Tallawah TV with Crystal Davis.